And hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's stream. My name is Brady, the Overanalyst, and I will be your host for the next roughly 3.5 hours of... Let's get on over there. Boom! Sly 3, Honor Among Thieves. Decided I'd start the stream up just a little bit early today, so right now I'm basically just addressing any of you catching this after the fact as a VOD on YouTube. Thanks for watching, by the way. Really appreciate all of you guys who tune in on YouTube and leave comments for us. I know I'm a little slow at getting around responding to them, but I promise that I do, and I really appreciate you all. Like I said, started the stream up a bit early today because I wanted to give you guys just a little bit more of Sly 3 than usual, as I will be out of town for the next week. That means you will not see me on my own regular streaming days, nor on Cephs or Potatoes, though I may drop in as a guest in text chat. The reason for this is because I'm going to be slapping together the first draft chapter of my thesis, and I get the feeling, talking to others who have done this before, and just kind of surveying the landscape of work I have to do, this is going to be the single hardest part of the entire process. So I'm going home, I'm visiting my parents for a week, I'm just going to be cloistered up there in my hometown doing not much of anything other than working and relaxing to try and get through that as quickly and painlessly as I possibly can, alright? So, Potato will be with you guys tomorrow, maybe, I think, and this will be my last stream until probably next Sunday or the Wednesday that follows. I'll keep you all updated in Discord. Thank you all so much for being here with us. Let's dive right back into the game. Now, if you recall, last time around we made it a little more than halfway through the second chapter of the game, Rumble Down Under, where we recruited Murray's spiritual instructor, the Guru, who has this very interesting playstyle based entirely around mind-controlling guards and using them as perpetual motion machine battering rams to destroy various environmental obstacles. And kind of laid out our mission for the remainder of the chapter, which is we are to dispatch a crew of overzealous miners who have been despoiling the sacred lands that the Guru lives on for commercial gain, like just wreaking mass ecological destruction. And in the process, unearthed a malicious, sentient, ancient artifact that's been possessing some of the miners and granting them these kind of superhuman abilities. So, right now we've got the Guru on the team, but you may notice he is not selectable in the safe house. And this leads me to my first extremely minor complaint with the game systems. While the Cooper Gang does see the addition of numerous very interesting and usually quite fun playable characters, each with their own unique mechanics and playstyle, you cannot play as them at will. The same applies to Carmelita, by the way, who we took control of for the first time in the last chapter. Instead, you can only play as those characters during specifically designated segments of individual missions, or for missions that require their usage throughout the entirety. We can only explore the open world with Sly, Bentley, and Murray. And I know saying only 3 characters sounds a little, maybe a little harsh, but we get a ton of playable characters in this game, and it does feel like something of a shame that we can't control each of them at our leisure, at least when it comes to running around and exploring these open world spaces. But I digress. When last we left off, we established a plan to drive the miners out by essentially destroying as much of their operation as we could, and hopefully destroying the fell artifact that they unearthed somewhere along the way. Now, I believe our next mission, is going to require Murray's particular set of skills, which of course means murder. Hungry Croc is a very simple, but, oh god, incredibly violent mission. Have a listen to the briefing here.
You know I don't understand that math talk.
Put the smackdown on these bad dudes for justice.
Righteous. I'm the man for the job.
The
I love that Bentley had to translate his meaning into Murray's.
Your job is to throw the thugs into the mouth of the monster.
Teach him to like eating miners, huh? That's a sinister plan, Bentley. I approve.
Luck, the oversized reptile will be in that.
Murray is the most delightful, chaotic, evil character I've ever seen.
He might even take care of our Mask of Dark Earth problems. I've spotted it prowling near the safe house.
Roger, it's feeding time.
So the Guru is going to be luring guards over near the crocodile, and Murray's job is quite simple, if incredibly gruesome. We have to pick up and throw a considerable amount of both dingo and kangaroo guards into the crocodile's waiting mouth in order to give him an acquired taste for miner.
Types of guards. 4 kangaroos and 4 dingoes should do.
Chow down, Scaly.
We'll also
Flavored miner. Yummy.
We'll also be getting tons of lovely sound clips from Murray as we go about this. Now, of course, there's a ton of guards attacking us, but Murray can handle it. Thunderflop is perfect for clearing them out. And hold on, this guard has some loot for us. There we go. Ah, good evening, Luna. How are we doing? Thank you for joining us. Let's see, I think we need 1 more kangaroo, and then 2 or 3 more dingoes. Unfortunately, the kangaroos will still keep showing up, so we've got to get ready to avoid their... Oh! Hip drops, like that. Luna says, kinda meh, but we'll survive. There you go.
Now, feed the croc one last thing. A big, tasty flashlight guard. I've located one and marked it with a waypoint. Remember, you'll need to
Hopefully it'll cool down soon, eh?
in order to grab him.
Alright, yeah, so last item on the docket for this mission is to grab a single flashlight guard. Only one will spawn in this entire mission. That gentleman right over there atop the bar. And bring him all the way across the map to feed to the crocodile. Now, those are strange sound effects, aren't they? It sounds almost like the kangaroo's chuckling as it's trying to break free. But failing, of course, because we're the Murray.
On the biter with flashlight in order to grab him.
Ah, good evening, MC. How we doing, man? Glad to see you. All we have to do... And yes, as Bentley mentioned, Murray can knock out, that is to say, knock prone most regular guards, even if they've already detected him, but that does not apply to flashlight guards. He must get the drop on them, or throw another enemy or an object at them in order to knock them prone. Now all we have to do is avoid getting attacked while we drag him all the way back to the crocodile. Also, notice, incredibly minor thing, but the corona of light from its over-barrel little flashlight remains, like, roughly on par with where it would be if the flashlight guard were standing upright, even though he's pointing it straight into the sky with this animation. MC says, doing super good. Oh, glad to hear it, man. Anything exciting happen?
Cover, Murray. Here comes a guard wearing the Mask of Dark Earth. Let's see if all of your hard work with this croc pays off.
So yeah, that's a simple mission, but as I said, ridiculously dire in its implications. We are teaching very powerful indigenous wildlife to love the taste of sentient workers.
Masks get away.
And yes, we technically took out the Mask of Dark Earth for a second time, even though, as in the mines, it got away. I don't believe that this mission changes the world state any. I don't believe the crocodile will ever actually take to the streets again and start chowing down on enemies. But it's a fun, if gory, little distraction. MC said, got the opportunity to experience one of the better anime of last season. A Pulp Fiction-esque story. Oh, right on, right on. Love movies like that. Now, our last 2 regular missions setting up our operation are under Sly's purview. We'll start with the Claw, which is going to see us leave the encampment once again to head out deeper into the outback to disrupt a very particular operation. The Claw, as these kind of non-standard minigame-oriented stages go, is, if I recall correctly, actually fairly complex and a good bit of fun. Well, I say that. Unlike, say, other mascot-influenced pseudo-platformer games, Spyro 3, a lot of the minigames in Sly 3 are both suitably complex and a good deal of fun without feeling particularly forced, and are justified by the narrative quite well.
You ready to head out for the oil fields? Should be right through this cave.
Oh yeah! Bentley said there'd be heavy machinery and destruction going down.
Sounds like your thing.
Y-E-S, yeah!
We're going after...
One of the things I love about Murray is that his character is prone to extreme Flanderization over the course of the series. He becomes increasingly simple and increasingly violent with every single entry. Just wait till we get to see him in Sly 4. He's amazing. He's amazing. So, since Murray's coming along, you know some things are going to be blown straight apart.
Sly, phase 1 is to protect these power stations while Murray gets all 6 oil wells flowing.
So here, we're actually co-opting the miners' operation. We're going to be pumping oil ourselves. Our goal here is very simple, like we're back at Sly 1, we're just going to be defending Murray using this giant crane. Now the crane actually controls very smoothly, and you can see we have that shadow on the ground to telegraph where our claw will land if we deploy it at any given time. And the shadow is actually very distinct. I like that a lot. So, yeah, we can pick up rocks like this, or any object really, drop them. We can also pick them up and use the circle button to toss them.
The important feature on the 10,000 model is the throwing action. Just pick up an item and press the circle button to throw them. You can throw things quite a ways. Go ahead and hit that electric fence with one of those rocks.
MC says, also critique on media with retweets and likes. On gacha games, and how one could fall into those kinds of traps. Ooh, yeah, the infamous live service quote-unquote whales, right? Crime, justice, amazing villain, a lot of content. Right on. That sounds pretty good, actually. Was it a bit longer than your standard season of an anime?
The hang of it.
Nice shot. Let's see you do it again.
Face it, Bentley.
So,
Natural.
we're using our incredible crane game skills to protect Murray as he pumps oil, while an endless stream of miners attempt to attack him.
In the oil field.
Now, I know what you're thinking. We shouldn't have to defend Murray, but he's going to be using his superhuman strength to beat oil out of the ground. So it's justified here. Let's try using a rock project... Oh no, we're not defending Murray, sorry, we're defending these, like, power stations that are fueling the oil pumps, I believe. Now, of course, in addition to grabbing projectiles and things like that, we can also just grab the guards themselves, drop them down pits, throw them into electric fences. Frankly, this way is easier. Now, our power stations are remarkably resilient, so there shouldn't be too much chance of them going down, but still, it's best to avoid them taking any damage at all if we can help it. Ooh, and today I might, just might, depending on how far we get, show you guys the kind of special secret half of the game's content that can't be found, or an analog of which cannot be found anywhere else in the entire series. Sly 3 has something very, very special to offer us that I remember absolutely loving as a kid. It's nothing mind-blowing or anything like that, but an absolutely fantastic way to expand the game just a little bit. You'll notice Murray's got 2 of 6 wells up and running, that's great.
All 3 wells are puking up the crude oil. Give me a lift to the next set.
You need to take out the remaining guards. Hurry, Sly. Grab Murray.
Alright, now we have to move over to another set of pumps. With the Murray, of course. MC says 13 episodes with 12 is the usual. But man, I lose track of time, even with 23 minutes per episode. Oh, I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
Check out these guns. That pumping has got me pumped.
After work, especially during the early days of the pandemic, I would lose entire evenings or afternoons in seasons of Arrow. It was incredibly addicting show. Or last when I left off, I was like 2 seasons into Supergirl, and it was equally compelling. I love my superhero shows, as you guys know. And each of those episodes, like for the CW programs, are an hour long, an hour or more, and oh, you can just devour them like popcorn. It's really, really easy to get lost. Now, yeah, we could be using projectiles, but isn't it just more efficient to pick these suckers up and chuck them into the electric fence? Well, of course it is. Can we drop them on each other, I wonder? No, we cannot. Yikes. But it seems like they don't attack the nearest node. Like, if we pick them up and drop them near the other, they'll just run back to the power station they were originally supposed to attack. That's a little weird.
Deadly fence, miner guy.
Let's get some explosions in here to honor the Murray in his style. What are these green barrels? Larger explosions? The answer is yes. Larger explosions. What do we have? 5 out of 6 now?
That's it.
Yep.
Flushing now.
Nice work, guys. Now that all the oil wells are active, we can move on to phase 2, where we light the crude oil on fire.
Oh, and please let me know if you can hear the radio chatter in the game perfectly clearly. I don't want to be much louder than the game, because a lot of the story and charm in this game from Sly 2 on comes from the unfortunately unsubtitled mid-mission dialogue.
Started attacking them. Let's get that oil burning. Sly, drop a flint rock on the end of that long plank. Hurry, you'll then jump on the end and catapult the rock.
So our goal now is to use a bunch of these rocks to ignite the oil wells. So we're not exactly going to be using the oil for its intended purpose. We're going to be burning up their entire supply and destroying their machinery again, of course. So here we have to operate under quite a bit more stress. Not only getting rid of guards, but chucking flint rocks onto the catapult every so often. Oh, yikes. We missed a couple. MC says we could hear it fine. Okay, good. Thank you very much. I mean, dialogue's very important in a game as charming as this. You don't really get, I should say, a ton of story. You get a fair amount of context for why you're doing certain things in mission, which I always appreciate. But really, the game's dialogue is just rife with really great cartoony characterization. Oh, damn it. Just a little off-center there. Your aim actually does have to be pretty precise with these rocks, which isn't a huge deal because, as you can see, our power stations are almost fully intact. Okay, Murray, one more. Between this and the fact that some ancient, malefic artifact has taken over their entire camp, I'm really surprised that the miners' supervisors have not ordered them to pull out yet. Or at least temporarily halt operations while they get some backup, you know? So, in case you missed that, that was Murray jumping and rolling around and delighting in coating himself in uranium. We were extracting uranium from the ground, so, yeah, Murray's gonna be even stronger, potentially, or an X-Man, or something. And so he says, there was also an audio show run in parallel to complement episode release. Because, see, it's a giant puzzle box. Oh, that's pretty common with, Japanese IPs, right? Like, they'll tell stories across multiple media, in an attempt to really create, an almost omnipresent franchise for a time, right? The one, or the IP that has worked that way in our market that we might be most familiar with, I think, is Kingdom Hearts, right? They try to tell one single coherent narrative across manga and video games for many, many platforms, and phone games, and a couple novels or little free movies, yeah. And so he says generally it's light novels and mangas and anime. Yep. Oi. It's a good marketing strategy, but it must get exhausting if you want to comprehend the full story of entire franchises. Exhausting, I shouldn't say. Expensive is what I was thinking of. Exhaustive to your wallet. And so he says books to video. Yeah. I do know that. Whoa! It looks like the guards have more cause to be afraid of the gyrocopter than we do. Okay, y'all. It's time for the mission I've been building up since Sly 1. It's time for the boys to get hammered and destroy a bar. This is one of my favorite missions in the franchise for its narrative and its ridiculous over-the-top premise alone. And I hope, even though mechanically it's pretty simple, you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Now, of course, this bar doesn't serve alcohol. It's a lemonade bar. Yeah. Lemonade. That's right. You know, like all that water served at bars in 4Kids adaptations of anime or manga, like that. I know a lemonade bottle when I see one. With some kind of spore or sperm on the label? What is that? Anyhow, going to just give you a general overview of what happens once we set foot inside. We're going to challenge the miners to a drinking contest, which is a simple button-mashing minigame, where each member of the Cooper gang will have to basically run a relay, chugging as much as they can, as fast as they can, with the goal being to finish before a team of 3 miners does. MC says the audio show is a podcast on the internet. Oh, nice. And Lemonade? Lemon Rage, actually. Now, take note of the music that plays throughout the first segment of the mission, because, it, for some reason, ever since I was small, has occupied this really singular space in my mind. We only ever hear it a single time in the entire franchise, right here. But it is the archetypal audio cue for inebriation in my mind now. This is the official theme of drunkenness. Enjoy.
All right, boy.
I'm not even gonna say much for the first half of the mission because you need to take this in. It's great.
I'm not sure I can do it.
We're going to intimidate the locals by drinking them into submission.
Find the match deep inside yourself. Light it, and let the fire burn up your guts and boil your blood.
Yeah, I pretty much do the same thing. Look, our goal is to drive away these miners, and we'll do whatever it takes. Listen up, dirtbags. Time to clear out. From now on, this bar is Cooper Gang turf.
Tough took, wagger. But you ain't got no respect with us. We here are known around these parts for our drinking skills. And this just happens to be a lemonade bar.
Sly, I'm not sure this is such a good idea.
If a lemonade drinking challenge is what you had in mind, then the 3 of us will take on the best 3 lemonade drinkers you've got.
This mission is incredible, isn't it?
Clear out.
Again, apologies, I'm not saying too much because I just want to take this in. Okay, time to drink.
That can't be pleasurable.
Sly takes down as much lemonade per swig as the miner does. Murray obviously takes down far, far more, and Bentley far less, so we have to be really quick with him.
Swallow the liquid!
Go on, Bentley. Go on, Bentley. Get crunk.
Going strong.
Swallow faster, man!
Don't slow down.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. MC says Conquer-esque. Kind of, but with a bit more class. Now, it's time to destroy the bar.
That's cheating! Why, the turtle spilled more than he drank. Around here, there's only one thing we do as cheaters. Turn on the fence, Bruce. It's time we gave these cheaters a beating.
So, yeah, just before we get into it, to give you an idea of what the remainder of the mission entails, it's one massive brawl, with us being required to take out a certain amount of miners. I think it's like maybe 10 or 15, somewhere like that. Somewhere around there, with each member of the Cooper gang, before we assume control of the next and repeat the process. That electrified fence is going to be our best friend while bringing down guards with Bentley, given his relative weakness. The inexplicably churning drills in that corner can also be quite useful, as can the fire pit in the center of the room. Again, Bentley's got really solid 360-degree attack radius coverage, but... Oh, there we go. Now we get control of Sly, and things get much easier. Or no, I think each member of the Cooper gang has to defeat progressively more enemies, roughly concomitant with their strength. Sly has to take down more than Bentley, and Murray has to take down far more, of course. This is perhaps one of the best scenes in the entire franchise, because of how absolutely ludicrous it is. This is not something I would expect, even given the ridiculous over-the-top heists we've been executing over the past game and a half.
Good work, Sly!
They just keep coming. You holding up, Murray?
Now my question to you, was the miner's objection legitimate? Did it look like Bentley was really spilling that much of his drink? Some of it, sure. But, I mean, considering his size and how difficult it was for him to lift the mug, that seemed fair to me. Yeah, MC says they wanted to create a bar fight and sorta did it. Yeah, a bar fight with a ridiculous body count. Look at this. My question is, how many miners are working this site? Because this is just the bar. Think about all of the guards we've taken out over the course of the chapter, between feeding them to the crocodile, or, like, feeding them to the scorpions we gathered up with Big Truck, or defeating them in the mine complexes themselves. How many people got hired to excavate this territory? Oh, we're almost done.
Looking good, Murray.
This is...
The Cooper gang rules the roost. We're the kings of the hill. The totally maxed out heavyweight champions.
Hell yeah, Murray.
Back here anytime soon.
But we're not done quite yet. It's boss time.
Like they saved their big guy for last.
He's wearing that freaky bad spirit mask. He must be so jacked.
At this point, notice, we have seen each type of guard possessed by the Mask of Dark Earth at one time or another.
Powerful force in it.
Notice the attack animation, its melee attack animation was the same as if it were still wielding a whip. Even though this variant isn't. So we're playing as Sly here, and our goal in this fight is quite simple. Oh, first off, don't walk into the fire. Secondly, just wait until the rest of the gang set up these little traps that we can then use to stun him, and then go wild. Just go hog wild on him. So Bentley will lay down bombs, and the Murray will procure these giant kegs of lemonade, wink wink, that he will just chuck straight into the guard's face. Beautiful. It's a very simple fight, but I appreciate that at least in the mechanical design, they got all three members of the gang working together to bring this one down. This, coupled with the fact that we could throw that possessed kangaroo into the drills something like 6-7 times in the spelunking mission, actually does a pretty decent job of conveying through mechanics exactly how durable, how venerable this mask is. And for the only, like, non-verbal villain in the entire franchise, it does a decent enough job of setting up our foe as something somewhat intimidating. I'm still not sure how I feel about the game's decision to forego, like, one of its traditional chapter-defining villains for this chapter and this chapter alone, and just using a more or less non-sentient threat in its place, and a nondescript crew of not exactly generic, but non-criminal thugs for its enemies. But it is an interesting change of pace, since this is the only time this happens in the entire series. Would I have preferred a villain that characterizes and is characterized by their environment and guards and all of that, as is the series standard? Since I've praised it so extensively, you could probably guess yeah, but this is still a very interesting approach to antagonist design for Sly. Oh, speaking of, time to run down our plan to drive out the miners and the mask forever.
The miners are about to pack it in. In fact, they'd probably already be long gone if it weren't for the corrupting influence of the Mask of Dark Earth. It's clear we need to destroy it. Time for Operation Moon Crash. To start things off, we'll need the Guru to take out the gyrocopter. With it gone, we'll have clear skies for Phase 2. Now, according to Aboriginal folklore, the Mask of Dark Earth is the sworn enemy of the moon spirit. So, given Murray's moon shape, we'll coat him in the glowing oil and have him pose as the spirit. We'll then dangle him from the crane. The mask is sure to spot his ancient foe and come running. That's when we'll strike. Murray, thunderplop off the crane and obliterate that mask. With the mask destroyed and the miners run off, the Guru will be free to join the team for the Cooper Vault job.
This might just be Bentley's stupidest operation plan yet, and I absolutely adore it. We're going to coat Murray in uranium-laden oil so that this ancient, malefic, indigenous spirit will somehow mistake him for an actual god of the moon. Then we're just going to drop him on top of the mask from a crane. That is the... And also, inexplicably, we've got to take out the gyrocopter, even though it, other than dropping bombs, can't really do anything to hurt us. Okay, yeah, sure, fine. Oh god, I love this game. I love this series so much. Let's see, do we want to pick up Bentley's hover pack? Yeah, actually we do. And we can now purchase Sly's paraglider. Fantastic. That's one of my favorites, as you well know. Anything else we want to grab while we're here? Oh, Murray's Juggernaut throw, obviously. We're getting back some of my favorite abilities from the first game. MC says this is an experiment for something that was just fun to do. Yeah, and it worked a lot more cleanly than I would have expected, right? I would think the absence of a very charismatic, even if one-dimensional villain would have hurt the overall feeling of aesthetic distinction that this chapter has, but no, it didn't. They did a great job of creating a very rich, unique setting, even without an omnipresent villain. So kudos to the folks over at Sucker Punch. I mean, obviously, they are phenomenally gifted designers. Let's get just a little bit more treasure to make up for the losses we just experienced. in picking up our new treasures, or our new moves, such as the paraglider. New moves can be treasures as well, of course. Might as well equip that knockout dive. Wonder when we acquire the silent takedown for Sly again. I think we get it fairly late game once again here, which makes perfect sense. It's been a long time though, so I don't know. It could be as early as Chapter 4. Oh hi, Kangaroo. And Kangaroo, and Dingo. I'll tell you what, hell with it. Let's just get into Operation Hippo Drop. Moon Crash. Sorry, Hippo Drop was from the first game. Second game, damn.
Formally joined the team, but we need your help to destroy the mask of Dark Earth. Your objective is to take out the gyrocopter while it's refueling. Glad to hear you're up to it. The bad news is the gyrocopter has a sensor that can detect your moonstone. I suspect that's how they found and trapped you earlier. Get too close, and they'll detect you, then take off out of reach. For this job, you'll need to run guards toward it, and then jump off early before it senses you. Ram a few guards into that thing, and it's sure to fall apart.
Hey, Invader Dre, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing well, man. I'm doing pretty well. How are you? Whoops. So, interesting, right, that this gyrocopter, with a pretty large, viewport in the cockpit, can detect the Guru's Moonstone, but apparently the pilot cannot see a crazed guard with bloodshot eyes running at Mach speed straight toward the copter? Interesting. But this stretch of the operation is really just a very simple exercise in dismounting guards while still angling them for use as projectiles while playing as the Guru. Something we'll need to do a couple of times throughout the game, actually. So first things first, let's find us some guards. Vader Dre says, I'm well, finally coming up for air after getting sucked into a new game. Oh cool, what's your plan? Alright.
Aim that miner and then jump off with a triangle button.
Triangle button is how we dismount. Okie dokie. Woo!
Go, Guru.
There we go.
A couple more direct hits like that, and that gyrocopter will be history.
And yes, as Bentley says, I'm pretty sure we need to damage the copter 3 times to destroy it. I mean, it's still looking pretty hot after having one guard run smack into it, but oh. Looks like the game detected us as stuck and automatically corrected our position. Vader Dre says Monster Hunter Stories 2. Oh, righteous. That's the anime-style JRPG, right? Like the spinoff. Will that be a hit? That was a hit. One more. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when my aircraft starts smoking and expelling flame from what appeared to be directly beneath the cockpit, I'd probably take it in for repairs or leave. But no, these miners, guys, these miners are dedicated. They want to make sure their employers get their money's worth. There we go. There's actually a tiny bit of aim assist with flashlight guards' ranged weapons when you control them, I believe.
The moon spirit rises.
Everyone keep an eye out for the mask. It's sure to take the bait.
We got a situation here, fellas. Looks like Carmelita finally managed to catch up.
Right. We can't stop the operation now. We'll just have to give her a wide berth.
Roger, applying wide berth.
Quit horsing around and look out for the mask. It's close. I can feel it.
It's amazing that Carmelita doesn't catch on to this, but all right.
Here I come, master.
Did you get it? Is the mask
Just slightly off-center, Murray.
Can't tell from here.
And, yep, we're in trouble. This is our final challenge for the chapter.
Carmelita, you've got a little something on your face.
It's not nice to make fun of a girl's looks.
Maybe I should smash you.
Now, that's not nice.
So, in actually a really interesting twist, Carmelita serves as our final boss for this mission. Despite being
A little help.
a straight-up playable character and hero at this point.
Here. They will pry off the mask.
Okay, so we've got to sedate her as best we can. This is a little tricky given our vantage point, but we can do it. Maybe. Then, of course, she'll try and shoot us a couple times, but she's more interested in getting Sly. Oh, damn. Come on. Sorry, my aim's a little off. We've not had to use many sleep darts, actually, in these playthroughs, have we? I always remembered using them far, far more when I was younger. Maybe I enjoyed running around as Bentley a bit more than I do now? Maybe it was before Murray became a meme? Oh, come on. That went right under her arm. We could, of course, leave our perch and try to sedate her from a bit closer up, but that is probably a very bad idea. There we go. Seems like that second shot always goes wide, doesn't it? Not like I'm complaining. She fires one straight at us and then just one a good ways off to the side. Come on, there you go. Sly, where you at? Could we run her straight in the direction of the perch, sir? Oh, shoot. Come on. Whoa, pathfinding. Okay. Vader Dre says it's super good. Oh, glad to hear that, man. Some people in the community were pretty excited for it when Capcom showed it off back in the day. I say back in the day, like earlier this year, I think. That should do it.
The darts are starting to kick in.
And Luna says Carmelita smash. Yep.
The chemicals in my darts
Except,
interacting with the back.
things aren't exactly going according to plan.
Whoa, you're not kidding, Bentley. She's getting gigantic. Everyone head for the big truck. We've got to get some distance between her and us. She might shrink back down with time.
Now, once again, what I really, really like about this next section, this operation in particular, is that, as is the series custom, all of the unique mechanics that we learned or got to use through the chapter's minigames or unconventional missions come back in the operation. So it all comes together, and it doesn't feel like any of the missions are superfluous from a narrative or gameplay standpoint. You know what I mean? Like, here we are back with the crane, having to chuck back these barrels of TNT Carmelita's throwing at us. Problem is, we can't always get a beat on her. Sometimes she'll be running a bit too far to the side. In which case, we just have to chuck the barrels off of a big truck as quick as we can. And she could take some punishment. This, by the way, is the only combat portion, like straight-up combat portion, of the boss battle. None of the Cooper gang really doing the work, it's just Carmelita versus Big Truck. And somehow that agitated even more growth. Or instigated more growth, I'm sorry. So now it's down to Sly to try and get that mask off of her.
She's too huge. We can't outrun her in the truck. How we do now?
This is bad. We need a new strategy, and fast. Force just isn't working.
Time to stop running and deal with the real problem. Pry off that mask of Dark Earth, and maybe we'll get back the Carmelita we all know and love.
I do not love her.
Okay, not the point. It's all about taking off that mask. We gotta find a way up there.
You're the climber, and I'm sure you've always wanted to get closer to her. Can't get much closer than climbing up her bootlaces.
It's not a crazy idea.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
You got a better idea?
Yeah, but we'd need a giant fighting robot.
Sorry.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Bootlace plan.
Hurry's idea sounds like it would be the best, but alright. Time to play Shadow of the Colossus. Seriously, we're going to be slowly climbing up Carmelita, while dodging attacks from, I think, really the mercenaries more than her. And pry off the mask by destroying, a latch on each side of her face. Hold on, whoa, real quick. Invader Dre says, I've only just beaten the main story, so going into high rank now. Took me 59.5 hours to get to this point. Oh, lord. Monster Hunter games tend to be really, really content-rich, don't they? I know that Seth was honestly quite frustrated with the ridiculous amount of content and grinding in Monster Hunter Rise by the end. This is very easy, and more of an interactive set piece than anything. There's not much in the way of risk here. It's just a kaiju climb. There we go. And that should pry the mask free, allowing us to do nothing and the mercenaries to do all of the work. While also sacrificing themselves. So there you go. That's Chapter 2 done. Very interesting chapter, mechanically and narratively, and a very unorthodox operation. Not bad, though.
Being gentlemen, we kept watch over her throughout the night. Her camera proved to be a real source of entertainment as we took turns posing. Didn't want her to go home empty-handed.
Love that the guru caught on by the end.
Broke, and we got a clear view of the landscape. It was beautiful, empty of the miners that had been digging and drilling into the sacred place. The moment was broken as Carmelita began to stir, and we prepared for another quick exit. Only this time, it wasn't just the three of us. For the first time in Cooper Gang history, we picked up a new member, and the team would never be the same.
Righteous. Absolutely love this. And every time we recruit a new member at the end of their chapter, we get to see them not only add their hand to the stack, but take their place in our fantastic Cooper Gang splash screen. So we now have the Guru, but our team isn't properly assembled yet. Oh, no, we've got 3 more members to recruit. And up next, it's time to head on down, or rather head on up, to the Netherlands for Flight of Fancy, Chapter 3, and one of my favorite chapters in the franchise. I know I say this so often because this series has so much top-flight content, but this, guys, this sees the gang attempt to recruit an RC drone specialist. So unfortunately, a character that doesn't have much in the way of unique gameplay, they instead use iterations of Bentley's RC drone mechanics from the second game. More complex and more satisfying, I think, but like much the same from a conceptual standpoint, right? Recruit them by taking part in a corrupt air combat tournament in the Netherlands. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. It's not even the setting that does it for me, but the remarkable concept of this, like, early 20th century air combat league. Like, everybody's flying, like, World War I era biplanes. It's really cool. And I hope you guys enjoy. This is one of my favorites, as I said. Invader Dre says, oh yeah, wasn't even grinding. I just kept getting distracted and really enjoyed the world and mechanics it would introduce. Right on. I love that immersion that good RPGs can give you. You know, as of the past few days, I've been playing Greedfall by Spiders. It's a game that's a little over a year old at this point, I think. Maybe even close to a year and a half or two. And despite it being a BioWare-esque RPG from a mid-range team known for slightly janky mechanics, it actually hits that sweet spot in terms of narrative and player choice and agency and all of that I associate with BioWare or with Obsidian really, really well. Its world is interesting, if not, completely original, and its cast of characters is genuinely likable, and faction dynamics and politics and substantive player choice are absolutely prolific within the game's structure. Greedfall, if any of y'all are looking for a solid console or PC RPG, I'd say go for it. Oh, hold on. Sorry about that if you can hear a car alarm outside. Okay, we're good. One of the neighbors' cars must have been going off. Alright, enough rambling from me. Time to dive on into Flight of Fancy. Let's do this thing.
Bentley was obsessed. Every night he'd pore over the blueprints to Dr. M's fortress, looking for a way to get into the Cooper vault. He soon came to the conclusion that there was no way inside unless the gang picked up a dedicated RC specialist. An expert who had mechanical and piloting skills far exceeding his own. After weeks of searching techie chat rooms, he finally found someone who could keep up with him intellectually. A gearhead genius out of Holland named Penelope. She politely declined our invitation to join the team, saying she only works for the best.
Love that they even included typos in their chat logs. That's great.
Was her boss, the Black Baron. A big-time dogfighting champ up there in Holland. He's so good that he's even set up an international competition called Aces to attract worthy opponents. A few days later, she sent us a counteroffer. If our gang could manage to beat the Black Baron at his own game, then she'd know.
Love Bentley's profile picture.
And therefore, worth her time. So, we got busy. With no time to lose, Bentley and Murray worked to put a plane together, while I got my pilot license the fastest way possible.
Flawless plan.
We proved to this Penelope that the Cooper gang was up for the challenge, even if we were making it all up as we went along.
You'd think this would be a Bentley-centric chapter, and you're kinda right, but actually, this chapter is laden with unique minigame challenges, mostly centered around those awesome dogfights, and nods to earlier entries in the franchise. It's, as I said, really, really cool. And again, we're not really engaging in tons of criminal activity here. Instead, we're just trying to compete in this tournament. It's a tournament arc in a Sly Cooper game. Gotta love that. So welcome to the Netherlands, ladies and gentlemen. And welcome to the hotel that all of the aviators will be based out of for the duration. Sly's also going to be given a unique disguise, a pilot's disguise, for use only inside the hotel, I believe. Let me think, do we get disguises elsewhere? No, I think we have a disguise here, and we have another disguise in Chapter 5, maybe? Do we have new abilities for purchase? Oh lord, yes, of course we do. Or no, sorry, we've got a new one for Bentley and a new one for Murray. Nothing new for Sly yet. We can use Guttural Roar, we can use Berserker Charge. Neither of those are super important to me. Let's hold off on these. Yep, we have a pilot's disguise. So let's go meet all of our competitors.
If we're gonna succeed in this year's Aces competition, we'll need to learn who we're flying against.
What? They keep the flight roster a secret?
Correct. In years past, competitors would go out at night and sabotage each other's planes in preparation for the next day's dogfight.
I get it. So now they keep the lineup a secret, and no one knows who to mess with.
Precisely. Looks like you're a good pilot, but we've only got one plane, and you'll be up there against dozens of bogeys.
You know, normally I'd make some sarcastic remark about how overwhelmed I am by your confidence in me, but those are some grim odds. And, well, you know, I'm always up for some sabotage.
So, of course, we're cheating.
Now, the roster is kept secret from the pilots, but not from the event staff.
Do we have a mole on the inside?
Our friend, Dimitri, has been hired to give color commentary during the dogfights. He'll know where the...
Yep, Dimitri's here, and he's going to be announcing our battles.
If you start a fight with the other...
You could tell he was really, really popular amongst the fan base in the wake of Sly 2's release, because they incorporated him into this game, actually, to a pretty healthy extent. He gets more than just a cameo or two. Which is fair, because out of the Claw Gang members, he received probably the most and best characterization in the second game, not gonna lie. As you can tell, Black Baron's kind of a fan of himself. He's got prints of that one portrait just hung up all across the hotel. You also might not be able to hear it over my constant yammering, but the theme for this mission alone, I believe, is a soft, like, lounge jazz version of Dimitri's disco theme from the second game. And there's our guy. By the way, how are we feeling about Sly 3 overall, and how do we feel about that last chapter, chat? Or how do we feel about the promise of this one? What are your thoughts? Love to hear them.
Dimitri, funny seeing you here. Never pegged you as a flyboy.
Like a dance floor with many lights, I have many profiles. Dig, don't even try to understand the silky enigma of Dimitri.
Bentley seemed to think you might have a copy of the Aces flight lineup. That true?
And why should I talk to a two-bit Rudy Poop crackerbox like you? Question mark in bold. Why?
So, once again, we're going to have to use our natural charisma to convince Dimitri to help us out. Maybe we should, perhaps try logic? Let's not be super intimidating right out the
What are you
gate.
gonna tell me? You wouldn't have bothered showing up if you didn't want to talk. So, spill it.
I know, but to talk is like sitting on an electric chair. The Baron has eyes, eyes and ears, ears and fists. Dimitri will be discovered, and the jig is pitched.
Yeah, let's calm him down by, Let's compliment him. I mean, Dimitri's more than a little vain.
Now, Dimitri, a man like you can deal with this Black Baron. You've got the best fashion sense of anyone I know.
The fashion? Style? You're right. If I can impress him, I can certainly outsmart him. All is told through clothes. Okay, I'll talk of flight lineup if you agree to owe Dimitri a favor, which I'll collect in a few months of time.
A favor?
There's no small time favor like, will you water my fish or feed my plant? No way, bro. This old school mafia blood pact favor. Movies, big time.
Sure. We will agree. Absolutely.
Okay, Dimitri. Hook me up with a flight roster, and we'll owe you one.
Done! The bargain she has struck. To find flight roster, look behind one of the tacky paintings in Black Baron's air hangar. It's hidden in secret safe.
Art decryption lock, huh? I know just the guy for the job.
Stand cool.
Here comes our villain, who is inexplicably English and apparently human.
All a most flamboyant welcome, my esteemed comrade.
Isn't that a little strange to see in this universe?
Welcome to another year of the Aces competition. We've got teams here from across the globe. Canada, Belgium, Ecuador, Iceland, Korea, and many, many more. Not the least of which is last year's deadly runner-up, Team Mugshot. This time...
And look who's here! It's Mugshot from Sly 1. Also inexplicably leading his own flight wing.
Teams have engaged in a little good-natured late-night hike. Like when Team Canada stole Ecuador's parachutes. Or when Team Iceland saw the landing gear off Korea's planes. Or when Portugal put rat poison in Team Mugshot's coffee machine. Yes, that was all so very funny, but no more. You know the rules. No one, absolutely no one, is to leave the hotel after sunset. If my guards catch you outside,
I love that his scarf is kind of unnaturally rigid.
no exceptions. This will be a fair competition.
Same as last year and the year before. I've got the scars to prove it.
I bid you all an exuberant and exaggerated farewell, pilots.
Vader Dre says he looks like Yosemite Sam? Kind of. A lot of that's in the proportions, probably.
Like eagles, eh?
As villains in this franchise go, he's actually very, very small. One of the only villains, I believe, who is in fact smaller standing upright than Sly is.
To jail. But you heard the Baron. Let's outside. Things will get dangerous.
So since we're interested in a bit of sabotage, we're going to have to dodge the Baron's guards who are patrolling the entire city. His guards are, I believe, hares, pigs, and, of course, the flashlight guards you saw on the way in, rams, with particularly powerful hand cannons. So our goal is quite simple: break into the Black Baron's personal air hangar in his castle to uncover the flight roster.
Guards on duty, and it's a long way up to his castle on the hill.
Our coins here have the Black Baron's personal team logo on them. Very fancy. Look kind of like something out of Final Fantasy, I think. Final Fantasy X, specifically, they look kind of like that Spirin script you would see all over the place, you know what I mean? And of course, our trampolines here are wheels of cheese, because why not? Let's see, does our buddy... Whoa! Our buddy has some treasure, we need to get it. Just need to wait for him to turn around first. Go on. That's the way. So that little plaza up ahead is meticulously patrolled. Ah, silver medal, that ain't bad, that ain't bad. Does he also have a treasure? He does, he does! Oh, how fortuitous. This will allow us to make back a lot of the money we spent on ThiefNet at the end of the last chapter. Oh, there are also Zeppelins patrolling, because why wouldn't there be? You know the drill, stay out of the spotlights. So the Baron's regular guards are nothing to write home about. I actually recall their standard attacks being much easier to dodge than those of the miners. Oh no. And in fact, the Dawn's henchmen. Oh lord. How did I forget about the Zeppelin entirely? But as you can see, the flashlight guards are both nasty and tend to patrol pretty reasonably difficult areas to catch them unawares in, compared to the flashlight guards from the previous chapters. Oh, gold nuggets, though. This early? Right on. That's gonna get us quite a bit of money. And as you can see, guards here seem to be carrying a lot of special treasure on them. Which is great. It's a good way to enable us to purchase more moves, and since this game has so many special abilities, it's... Oh, gold medal. There we are. Nice that they give us a way to afford them without just grinding for hours on end. The Baron's hangar is, of course, in his castle, up here on the hill. That is the meanest looking rabbit I've ever seen. Again, we've got that kind of distortion thing going on with the art design. Notice there aren't many perfectly straight lines or clear angles on the Baron's castle. There's a lot of bending and twisting, distorting of shapes to make the castle, which is not that large on the map, look a bit bigger and more imposing than it is. Again, art design for this game, like Psychonauts, beautiful.
Be a release lever on top of the castle somewhere. Sorry, pal, but you're the best climber we got.
All we have to do here is scale the castle, which honestly isn't that hard at all. We do have to be careful once we near the windows, though.
Where are all my guards? Asleep? Watching TV? I bother paying them at all if they're going to lounge about like common tourists.
Now, I've got a question for you guys, those of you who've been watching the streams on and off throughout the Sly playthrough series. How do you feel about this game's decision to have each chapter possessed of an independent villain that aren't like connected to each other, that aren't part of some syndicate or what have you? Some people did not like that at launch. I actually prefer it and think it's kind of refreshing that the gang is taking on a wide variety of criminals, or in this case,
Fine job training.
hold on.
Planets are in tip-top condition. The best lot, without question. Truly. I'm not just saying this, truly. This is going to be our finest victory ever. Yes, yes, tomorrow.
Criminal adjacent persons, each with their own unique fields of expertise and their own personality that are very closely tied to the arenas and situations in which we find them. I'm not sure if this is better or worse than the Syndicate approach the first two games took with their villains, but I will say it's clearly refreshing. I think I might prefer this just a little.
Sorry, pal. I don't see any switch.
But there just has to be a switch. I can't get in the Baron's hangar from down here.
Hold on. I got an idea. It's gonna fall.
Yep, no way that would have alerted anybody inside the castle, right?
Medieval, but effective.
And now Bentley's going to have to slingshot himself to the roof of the castle. Or, more accurately, catapult himself. Real quick. Oh. Oh, nice. We don't have to equip the hover pack to one of our ability buttons anymore. Instead, it just gives us a triple jump. Bentley now has a permanent triple jump, which in fact makes him the most capable member of the entire crew in midair. Really impressive, the extent to which individual, fairly cheap upgrades can radically change the way our main characters play in this entry, right? A lot of the abilities, maybe Sans the Paraglider, were cool little optional add-ons in the second game, but here, it feels like a lot of the upgrades we can get radically change the way that our main Cooper gang members play. Really expand their capabilities, and I dig that. Can't tell you how much I dig that. Alright, so now it's time to run along this hilariously tiny runway straight into the Baron's hangar, which, oddly enough, isn't locked or sealed electronically from the inside. You can just waltz right on in. Alright.
If Dimitri's intel is accurate, the flight roster should be logged behind one of the paintings in this hangar.
So, just like with the... Oh, wait. So, yeah, as you can tell, the Black Baron is not one for the fair competition that he touted inside of the hotel. Instead, he's got his flight crew, primed to sabotage, well, not exactly sabotage other pilots, since he himself is incredibly talented, but rather do all they can to weigh the competition very, very heavily in his favor. So, engaging in a little sabotage ourselves doesn't seem so bad, in comparison, right? Alright, you remember this. Good old, portrait locks. So, here we have this concept art of Rajan's temple from the third game, and it looks like our passcode may well be 223, right? Let's give that a try. And again, we just have to crack all of these locks until we find the one that the flight roster is behind. Not that one. So let's move on to the next. Again, I can't tell you how remarkably convenient Bentley's triple jump is. It, is basically his version of the paraglider. Gives him ridiculous, mobility in midair, and also a great deal of safety when moving about. Things like those, laser, or floor-mounted laser grids, and even the spotlights over these planes serving as platforms are nowhere near as dangerous as they would be if we just had a standard double jump. Or wait, no, so technically, that's a quadruple jump. My bad. Sorry. Now, what does this depict? I'm not sure this is any given locale from an earlier game, but I do believe that our passcode here is 510. Let's give her a try. There's our flight roster. Perfect. And with that, we're ready for our first slideshow. Let's see what the first stage of our plan is this time around.
Okay, fellas. According to the Aces flight lineup, we'll be flying against Team Iceland and Team Belgium in tomorrow's semi-final round. As you're all aware, we've only got a single plane, while our opponents will be flying 15 apiece. You got that, guys? That's 30-to-1 odds against us.
I'm fairly certain they got those two reversed, right? The blue biplanes are flying the Belgian flag.
Will paddle through the sewers beneath town to get access to an air vent leading into Team Iceland's hotel room. Steal one of their trademark Viking helmets, then head over to Team Belgium's hangar. Vandalize one of their aircraft.
Oh, yeah. No, they got it right. They just, for some reason, showed a Belgian plane when they said Team Iceland and vice versa.
I will steal one of Team Belgium's monogrammed handkerchiefs. Meanwhile, the guru will break into the Team Iceland supply truck carrying their lucky ice sculpture. Sly will steal the art and then place the handkerchief insinuating Team Belgium for the crime. Get it? We frame both teams so they'll be gunning for each other and not Sly in the semi-finals. All the while, I'll be setting up defenses around the Team Cooper air hangar. You never know when one of the other teams might come looking to do us some harm.
So our goal here is really simple. We're going to be, implicating each of our opponents in the semifinals, since it's meant to be like a three-team, free-for-all, in an act of sabotage against the other. Not like this has much of an impact, on the, dogfight itself. They'll still be gunning for us, but apparently it'll draw some of the heat off of us. Let's see. Anything we want? Not yet. Let's go ahead and play as Sly. Ready for day one of our Dutch operation. Sly only has the one mission, apparently, frame Team Belgium. And these sabotage missions are actually pretty lengthy. As Bentley outlined, most members of the team will be doing something or another to further the cause in each of the two missions, with even the Guru getting involved in one of them. Ooh. Just shy of another 100 coin. Oh, are the Baron's dirigibles no longer in the air? I don't think they are. Or at the very least, they're not here. Oh, no, there they are. They just, chart very slow, lazy arcs through the sky. I see. Alright, guys, give me a quick minute to grab a drink, put on a load of laundry, and hit the restroom, and I'll be right back. Give me, like, 3 minutes, and I'll be back with you. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined me today for my last stream for probably the next week. It's been a lot of fun so far, and we've got a couple more hours of content for you, about 2 hours and 2.5 hours, something like that. So, please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Alright, y'all, and we're back. Thank you for hanging with us. Alright, Invader Dre, no problem. Thank you for dropping by while you can. Hope you enjoy the bonfire. I will be here for the next 2 hours, more or less, 2 hours and 10 minutes. I'll have to run to the pharmacy to pick up some medicine before too long, or too late into the afternoon, but we've got some more time. So, let's get started by framing Team Belgium.
Alright, see that armored supply truck? It's en route to drop off Team Iceland's lucky ice sculpture for the semi-finals tomorrow. I've given the drivers some bad directions, so they should be going around in circles for hours. We need you to get inside that truck, steal the sculpture, and plant some evidence implicating Team Belgium.
Good thinking. Team Iceland won't be gunning for me if they think the Belgians stole their lucky hunk of ice.
Well, that's the idea. Now, the first thing to do is steal one of Team Belgium's official gold lace monogrammed handkerchiefs. Murray will head inside and get one of those stodgy Belgians laughing. They're notoriously stone-faced. Then I'll move in and steal the handkerchief.
Seems like getting inside that truck might be a good job for the guru. He could use some of the guards' heads to bash in the back doors.
Agreed. I'll make sure.
Again, despite the bright cartoony aesthetic, some of the implications of this game's jobs are pretty dark. Also, quite the accomplishment, isn't it, that they managed to confuse the delivery driver badly enough that they'll be driving around in circles around the massive hotel that takes up like half of the island we're on.
So hard that Bentley
4 hours.
This is serious business, pal. Those guys are uptight. If they notice being robbed, we'll be kicked out of the Aces competition.
So now we get to control Murray in his, official pilot's disguise. Even though he is not flying, he is dressed as a pilot. And our goal is quite simple, to get one of the Belgian pilots laughing so we can steal one of their handkerchiefs.
Belgium flyer, do you like comedy? I think it's time for Mr. Salty Pants to crack a smile. What do you say?
Nobody's better at making people smile than the Murray. That's obvious. Now, this is I believe, fairly unique, dialogue encounter, because none of the options we're given at first will be successful. We have to exhaust a certain number of options until the one successful option appears in our list of potential choices. So let's go ahead.
He's always, I love flying, don't go outside, listen to me, I'm so smart, I'm the boss, my mustache is so macho. That's pretty lame, huh?
Murray's attempts at comedy are broadly so bad they're good.
I can't make heads or tails of
Intellectual humor, let's go for it.
Get it?
Intellectual humor, ladies and gentlemen.
Funny because, like, when you flip a coin, it comes out either heads or tails. Come on, that's comic gold.
You have to appreciate Murray's dedication to a non-violent resolution. Well, we say non-violent. He's gonna use his fists for one thing. Time for a little bit of physical humor.
See someone put their fist down their throat? Hello? Hey, fish! Duck! I need help!
Yeah, that did the trick.
Okay, Bentley, it's go.
And now it's time for Bentley to pick the fella's pocket.
Sure to feel you fishing for the handkerchief.
And yeah, we have to do this very carefully during his laughing fits. Taking one parcel of coins or treasure at a time, otherwise he'll catch on to us. There we go! Somehow nobody else in this lodge managed to see that. Including the rhino back there who's looking straight at us the whole time. Curious, huh? Maybe because it's sabotage of another team, they just don't care? Maybe I'm thinking far too much into this game starring anthropomorphic animals taking on a variety of over-the-top espionage film-esque heists. Sorry.
I agree. The back door should be its weak spot. Yeah, I'm sure the guards around here won't mind too much if you break the door down with their heads. Bentley set up a waypoint on the truck. Should be handy. The thing's moving pretty fast.
So all we've got to do is break down the back door of the truck with 4 guards. As you can see, the truck has a very unique segmented life bar, something I don't think we've seen anywhere else in the franchise, and I don't think we will see again. These hairs are quite interesting in that their possession attack is an interesting little spin kick. It's not the best attack a guru can use in this chapter, it's far from the worst. Actually, hold on, I'm thinking it might be the worst, never mind. Now we're going to want to manually pilot each of these guards straight into the rear door of the truck as it maintains its cycle, because after the truck takes a single hit, it will start deploying countermeasures.
You'll have to pay attention on your next
Which is just ridiculous. This universe's Amazon analog, don't play around. They will deliver your package. Come hell or high water. And they're going to start deploying bear traps more and more regularly as we deal progressively more damage to the shutter on the back of the truck. Oh, shit. Sorry. Let's grab this pig again. I think their attack is, yeah, throwing some wrenches. Which is an attack with some reasonable range to it for a standard guard, honestly. Oh, damn, we were hit by the bear trap on its way down. These last 2 hits can be a little tricky, so don't worry if it takes you a few attempts. It's clearly taking me a few. Amazingly, this guard hasn't died yet. I believe the truck will start taking an alternate course around the map after every hit. Jesus Christ. Timing was just awful there. It's alright, though. This is probably the most difficult part of the mission, but it's kind of fun to play as the Guru once again. His gameplay is simple, but different and incredibly fulfilling. We also can't try running guards into the truck from the sides because of those electric barriers. Jesus Christ, ran straight into an explosive there. I think this might actually be the hardest of the 4 hits to land because of the course we're on. There we go! One more. Now the truck has no line of sight and won't do anything to attack us if we pass in front of it as the Guru. So no worries there. There we go! And yeah, in fact, the 4th hit was much easier to get. Pretty sure that's not true. Pretty sure visually, at least, it shows that we blew the shutters off. But whatever, this means it's time for Sly to dive in through the roof.
You'll have to sprint hard to catch up, but jumping inside through the roof should be easy.
And once inside, we only have one teeny tiny little task to complete in order to cross this mission off of our list. Now, the only real difficulty in jumping into the roof here is the relative lack of high vantage points in Holland. Notice a lot of the territory outside of that plaza immediately surrounding the hotel is pretty low to the ground, or otherwise are these massive spires, like the tops of the windmills, that are going to be a little bit difficult to access. Oh, somehow the flashlight guard heard that. Just want to pick that pocket really quick. Get us some goodies. MC says no land. No height. Oh, alright, Luna. Have a good evening at work. Take care. And again, don't forget to take a drink or a snack with you if you're going to be gone overly long. That might help you get through it without being just so exhausted. And yeah, look, the shutters have been blown clear off of the model, but we still gotta drop in through the roof for whatever reason. Now, the truck's still moving pretty quickly, so paragliding in It's a little trickier than, say, using the paraglider to land on the roofs of the Iron Horses. Also, doesn't help that this thing's going to start doing laps around the entire map now. Let's just take our frustration out on the ram. Alright, what to do? It's just constantly outrunning us at this point, so getting a lead on the truck would be helpful, but that would also entail knowing exactly where the truck is going. It says, problem is I'm already sweating in my own house. Oh, that's a shame. Like I say, just drink a lot of water, man. Drink a lot of water. That'll help you. It's probably the best way to manage that, especially at work. Oh, close, close. Can't just keep chasing the damn thing, though. There we go! Now we just have to crack open the vault.
No pressure.
We've done this a few times before.
Figured out where to go. You don't have much time.
Easy, 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 and there we go. MC says jumping in on commentary? Oh, of course, if you'd care to.
Great work. Team Iceland is sure to blame the Belgians. They'll be all over each other in tomorrow's dogfight.
Hey.
Hey, MC, how's it going, man?
It's fine. Enjoying tea after dinner.
Oh, lovely. What kind?
Just some soup and a sandwich after that.
Or no, I meant what kind of tea?
Oh. Well, black tea.
Very nice.
I'm not a tea specialist.
I'm not either, but I had this, like, ginger accented black tea at a friend's apartment a couple weeks ago. It was lovely. Perfect accompaniment for dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, so our next two missions involve the Murray, indirectly. Let's frame Team Iceland first, because the Cooper Hangar defense is going to be pretty straightforward. It's another minigame, but a really good one.
Like there are a lot of minigames in the third game.
There are. The most immediate, although probably completely inappropriate parallel my mind draws between the design of Sly 3 and any other game in this kind of general oeuvre is with Spyro 3. We've got, loads of additional playable characters who are kind of context-specific. We have more, I don't even want to say mini-games, we've just got more unique gameplay styles, but the difference here is, at least I don't know how you feel about it, MC, as a designer, but as a player, it feels to me like a lot of these feel less simple and less kind of shoehorned in, less obtuse than a lot of Spyro 3s.
Less fillery.
Yeah, absolutely.
Team Iceland has already gone to sleep.
Yeah, and it
I
was
could
released
borrow one of their
5
Viking
years
helmets.
later, so I guess
Why do you
they
need me? Just
copied
have
the
Sly
design
stick a lock to
but
the door and
changed
seal it.
the way it felt.
Sure, and
Trying to break
uh,
Iceland for a
with Spyro at least, obviously that was a different team, that was a different company, but didn't they admit, or some people admit, that by the time they got around to Spyro 3, a lot of the design team were kind of tired of the franchise or running out of ideas for it?
There are some sewer pipes,
Yeah,
but in
yeah,
town that should
definitely.
connect up
They ran out of ideas for what you could do with a playable character with no opposable thumbs, right? I think that's the way at least one designer explained it.
down there in the past, and the Baron is sure to have
Yeah.
set up some security.
That's indeed how they explained it. Though you could make a case that there are a lot more things you could explore with that kind of game.
Sure.
Even if it went into spin-offs.
Well, my biggest issue with Spyro 3, and it only shows up in really around the last major hub world, is they introduce all of these unique playable characters most of whom have really cool mechanics, I think, even if they're not perfectly smoothed out. But then they don't allow you to use them in the gameplay circumstances that they were established for, and instead you play the same type of minigames with them that you would normally play with Spyro anywhere else, so they feel kind of superfluous.
As if they had other character IDs and they put it in just to fit in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what was his name? Bentley, the poor Yeti. He doesn't get to do anything with his unique playstyle. So here we just have to drive this little dinghy through the sewers, which are also festooned with defenses for some ungodly reason, so that we can infiltrate... I think we're going to infiltrate Team Iceland's quarters? Yeah.
I think the main issue with platformer is generally you stick with one character and then you don't know to evolve it because the character has limited moveset, and what you really need to design is the challenge around the character.
Yes, and I think this team did something really spectacular by not just expanding the roster of playable characters, but radically changing the way Sly plays, or the way he interacts with the world between the first and second game, right?
It feels a little Rayman
Yeah.
in a way. Maybe they got inspired by it, and I won't say copy because that's not right. That wouldn't be the right term. But they clearly had some inspiration from it and wanted to try their own take on the ideas.
Yeah, this is a very unique franchise in my eyes, because it is... Well, it goes from being about as traditional as a 3D platformer could be in the first entry, to as untraditional as something that you could potentially call a platformer in a major console could be by the second. And amazingly, right, just showing you kind of where people's heads were at the time, people loved both styles.
Nice work. You're almost there. Be
Speaking
careful
of
not to wake these
that,
guys.
kind of make me think of the first reboot of the Tomb Raider, which had, I think it was the first one or the second game, which had a section in line with more older Tomb Raiders, with an observatory that you had to make jumps all over to climb. And it was sort of a broken mess.
Oh?
And it kind of reminded me of the platformer here, except here it works flawlessly.
Yeah, it's really impressive, I think, how well the Sucker Punch team managed to pull off so many different gameplay styles. You know, in the same engine, using the same tools, like nothing... I don't know how you feel, but nothing aside from maybe the turret sequences in the second game feeling a little loose, nothing feels bad in my hands. It all feels like it works as it's designed to. Whether or not those are good design decisions is another question, but I generally like most of those as well.
I would say the main reason why it works is because it's not the usual platformer in the most sense, in that you have both generalized platforming section that are more or less precise, jumping between those platforms, and then you have specific jump spot that you are guided towards.
Yeah. The best
That's why it works better.
The best way I can think about it is it often has the linearity of precision platformers a la Crash, but with the kind of open environmental design and the forgiveness you would usually associate with like a 3D collectathon exploration platformer.
Yeah, I mean, the thin platform wants you to get on them, they drag you towards them.
As soon as you press the context-specific button.
Yeah, and the thing is that works better for a platformer which requires precision in a 3D environment.
Yes.
If your platforms are too small. And that's kind of the pitfall of many 3D platformer games who try to give you like very precise platforming, but either increase the platform size so it doesn't fail, or it fails spectacularly, just because they want you to do something precise that you cannot accomplish.
That's right, that's right. Kind of reminds me of the way people describe, oh goodness gracious, some stages from the original releases of the Crash games, like some very specific challenges. But also like 90s platformers in general, like 90s early 3D platformers. They expected a level of, like, fine control that their control schemes just usually weren't able to allow players to accomplish very easily.
Yeah, and it's not really a fault on the designer part. It's more of a fault of trying to evolve from 2D to 3D.
Yeah, they didn't know. They had no way of knowing.
Nice job. You really showed some finesse with those oars.
So that was a very simple little section, but, again, we were just taught a skill that's going to come back for the operation. That simple little rowboat control scheme, going to have to use that again later on. Now, we have to infiltrate the Belgian hangar so we can plant this Icelandic, pretty surely completely acultural Viking helmet on one of their planes after we destroy it. Let's see, we've got some treasure here. There we go. I have to tell you, I'm surprised too, very pleasantly surprised with, for a game that, especially as of the second iteration, still focused very heavily on platforming, the less nimble Murray and Bentley still feel great to control. That's amazing.
Hey, Eclipse.
Hey, good evening, Eclipse. How you doing, man? Welcome to the Netherlands. We are cheating our way through an international dogfight competition to recruit an RC specialist, because this game is the best. Eclipse is not bad. How are you? I'm doing alright, thank you, MC.
Yeah, we're doing fine.
Now, I am curious, and I'll have to do some research before we complete this game, and we are going to get like 100% on stream, I promise you that. As to why audiences felt this game was just... I have to be very, very specific here. Very slightly worse than the second. It was still regarded very, very well. If I had to guess, it has something to do with the way a couple of the additional gang members are kind of included in the gameplay formula later on, but also probably the previous game came out in 04, this came out 05. It's entirely possible that they inadvertently oversaturated the market.
That or the game didn't show much improvement compared to the previous one, so we're already filled with the previous one.
So, all we have to do here is use ball form to destroy these anchors, suspending the Belgian plane above the show floor here. Just dodge the little mechanisms moving back and forth, because they can knock us into the laser fence. And there we go. Also, incredible that for an entire team, like, you know, a couple dozen pilots, they seem to have all of 1.5 planes in their hangar right now.
They got the flag wrong.
Of course they did. Oh no, on the walls, you're right!
No, the flags on the wall are...
Dutch, right?
Yeah, but the plane has the opposite flags, so... It's like, you have to see it from one side and then to the other, otherwise it's wrong.
It's mirrored, right.
Yeah.
Of course they did. And notice they didn't even bother giving flags to any of the hangars out here aside from a Dutch flag on what I think is the Cooper hangar. Or no, sorry, this is the Cooper team hangar. Never mind. Also, inexplicably, the Black Baron has his personal emblem over this one, which, is not his team's hangar. I don't know. I'm not surprised they got a flag wrong, though. I mean, this looks less like the Netherlands and more like a very particular map from Mario Party 7. The Alpine-inspired map, if anybody here remembers that one. If anybody here remembers Mario Party 7, for that record. Or for that matter. Which was one of the better entries on GameCube, I would argue. Alright, time to defend our hangar. But defend it against whom, you may ask? Well, saboteurs, of course.
Ah, Murray, I've been working to get our hangar security devices online, and they're almost operational. Unfortunately, my internet pal Penelope heard a rumor that a rival air team might be stopping by to do mischief to our plane.
Mischief makers? Coming here?
If you could stand watch while I finish getting the systems online...
There's one team we haven't interacted with yet, right?
Fear not, Brainiac chum. You'll be safe while my fists are on duty. Greetings, troglodyte.
It's Team Mugshot.
I forgot about Mesa City, did you? I figure you joints let me smash up your...
I think it's great they brought him back for just one chapter this late in the franchise.
Army? Oh, yeah. Okay, boys. I paid you up good enough. Time to crack some skulls.
They never explain how Mugshot became, like, an expert aviator, but he is.
It's definitely better for basement than Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, absolutely. If this were like Dark Souls 3, we would just be fighting the Fiendish Five again, including an inexplicably revived Clockwork. So Mugshot is so tough, even Murray cannot phase him. So what we have to do is keep his guards at bay until we can ram an engine block straight into his torso. Oh, he's great. And Mugshot actually features really prominently in this chapter. And for much of it, he actually serves as a more direct antagonist than the Black Baron, who is obviously the reigning champion, so we'll have to contend with at the end of the chapter, but is cheating from such a comfortable distance that we won't have to engage with him much at all. Ooh. Alright, Murray, hold on.
It's actually a proper competition where you have to fight your way up.
Mm-hmm.
The final of the end.
That's right. After this mission, we will unlock a dogfight against both Team Belgium and Team Iceland, and the final operation sees us take part in a dogfight against Team Mugshot and the Black Baron's personal squadron.
Don't think this is over, meatball. You're not untouchable.
So the mission isn't over, but we've managed to run Mugshot himself off for the time being. And they kept his walk cycle from the first game. I love that.
Fortunately, my security devices are all...
Yeah, so remember that bit from the second game where Bentley managed to kill hundreds of guards using traps in the tombs beneath the Contessa's mansion? We're doing the same thing here, but in the sewers.
Seems a little annoying.
And it's not like they get off clean if they manage to make it through either pathway, because then the guards have to contend with Murray while they try to break the plane. They're all screwed. Yep, there we go. We got laser fences, flames, trapdoors, more lasers. Yeah, this all seems legit.
Got it. The Cooper plane is as safe as a baby in its aircraft hangar crib.
So we'll have to keep an eye on the monitor we're not currently engaging with, just to see if guards are coming down that tunnel. Right now, I think they're going to begin by sending us a wave along each tunnel individually, but then we'll have to contend with both of them simultaneously. Yep. There we go. Something else I appreciate, this game seems, at least to me, to have more boss and mini-boss battles than even the last one did, and they also seem to be a bit more mechanically diverse. There's not as many just straight-out slugfests. I do appreciate that.
Looks like more are on the way. And they're packing explosives.
Alright. Time to play for real. We've got the Cooper Plains health bar in the lower right-hand corner. Want to keep an eye on that, just in case. Now, the plane is fairly fragile, so we really want to make sure that Murray is able to take care of, or only has to take care of, only maybe like 1 to 3 guards. There we go. Just like the equivalent missions in Sly 2, this minigame is nice and easy, but a nice change of pace, I think. And I do appreciate that you're having to keep an eye on 2 different screens at a time.
And remind me of Not for Broadcast.
Ooh.
It's a game where you try to play as a broadcaster for television, and you have to control various minigames to censor, change the clip, change the camera angle.
Oh, cool.
While the video is playing like news, media, and pieces of advertisement. And it's all in British comedy style.
I think I've heard of it before. Is it a fairly recent game?
It's fairly recent, yeah, and there are still releasing parts of it, like it's not in one go.
Oh, nice. Sometimes they'll start coming in volumes so vast, or traveling so rapid, that I'll have difficulty keeping all of my traps nice and warm for them. Doing well so far, though. The lasers and flames stay active just long enough to allow you to target or take out 2 guards with 1 activation. Oh, but it's not over yet, because as is the standard for chapters like this, we get to play as the character we acquire at the tail end very briefly during the main chapter's campaign.
Hangar is getting attacked by some traitorous beat-up Black Baron goons. Don't worry, I won't let those honorless double-crossers hurt your team's plane.
Notice Penelope also doesn't have a Dutch accent.
Affirmative. It's deployed and airborne.
You're a heck of a woman.
I know. That's what my homepage says.
Penelope's a great character, and I absolutely adore her. She uses, as I said, RC drones and helicopters, much like Bentley did, but hers work a little differently. Instead of using bombs, she has a grappling line.
Tank 86 and haven't had time to read the specs.
And uses her afterburners to yank guards straight through the air and directly into her rotors. I love that.
Follow the arrow to find enemies. Use the R1 button to kick on the thrusters and yank things off the
So
ground.
all we have to do now is fend off Mugshot's final assault.
Not to sell out the Black Baron.
Pretty impressive, though, that for this one standard mission, we've been playing as 3 different characters, yeah?
Boost in one direction, pull on the cable,
Yeah,
then turn
I'm
around
wondering
and
if
go the other way.
that is a reference to GTA San Andreas or something.
Penelope, I'm detecting you.
Really, was there like, oh, crap, he's got tanks. Oh dear. Back and forth, there we go.
There was an RC minigame as well, with I think the same style of thing, so I wonder. I mean, it's pretty common, but
I can tell you it may just be my love of, like, using grappling lines in gaming, but I do prefer Penelope's RC controls and playstyle to Bentley's, very slightly. Also, since we're, like, never going to see it, the color most commonly associated with her is a lavender. She's the only character... No, I take that back. We get to control Penelope physically all of once in the entire franchise. She's also an interesting addition to the team in that, well, unlike the Guru, we can actually comprehend what she says. And she may, it's kind of never made clear to us, she may be even more technologically competent and more intelligent than Bentley.
It's always nice in a story when you can have scientific rivals.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, you only have one character who's doing the smart stuff.
Yep. I think, what was it? During the development of Sonic Boom, I remember hearing that they wanted to make one particular character who ended up being like a prospector or something. Oh, hold on. Exit says MC sound is really low. Hold on. Hello, Exit, by the way. Welcome to the Netherlands in the Sly Cooper verse. Oh, good lord. I hate Discord. I hate Discord so much. Alright, there we go. That should do it. Alternatively, let's see. Desktop audio, maybe turn that up just a little. There we go. Hey, Exit. Alright. Yes, everything is windmills here, Exit. It's like an entire map full of nothing but windmills and cheese. And we're competing in a high-risk dogfighting tournament in order to recruit an RC specialist. Exit says, MC, say something. If you're there, of course. Oh god, just keep yanking the guards away. You have to do this for a fair duration, but there we go. So she is very, very dedicated to her employer. Oh, there you go, MC.
This should be better.
I would think so.
Somehow Discord decided that my mic shouldn't be working for a reason.
Oh, is that what it was?
I don't know. Maybe.
Gotta love Discord. Oi. And Exit, feel free to join us in voice if you'd like, man. There we go. So now we're ready for the Aces, I believe it's the semifinals? Yeah, our first dogfight mission, and god, I love these. Just as a preface... Alright, Exit, that's alright, man. I hope you're doing alright, though. I hope you're not coming down with anything, at least. Take it easy. Enjoy the show. Enjoy, obviously, the Netherlands.
Hopefully you're not coming down with a case of corporate idiocy.
The world's favorite disease. Exit says, unmistakably the Netherlands. I will say, though, like obviously they're using all kinds of, like, Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic tropes, but all of the maps in this series are beautiful. And again, very distinct from one another.
It feels scaled down, but just the right kind of scaled down.
Not overwhelming. Like I talk about a lot on this channel, because it's one of my, like, personal pet peeves at this point, the game makes extremely smart and responsible use of its space. Not too much, not too... Let's go ahead and buy some rocket boots for Sly, why not? And along with that, the adrenaline burst for Bentley, because, gotta go fast. Speaking of going fast, dogfight time. Whoa. Things just maybe glitched out? That would not be good. Come on, little PlayStation now, you got this. Maybe you don't. Are we gonna have to restart it again? We might have to. That's okay. Tell you what, that's okay, Because, again, this has happened twice across what? Like 2.5 games. For a streaming service, Stadia, that's not bad. The game might have stopped working. Do you want to... Might have? Yes. Yes, I do. Thank you. Is Stadia working properly for most people yet? Or did they just give up?
I have absolutely no idea.
I know they gave up on producing, like, loads of unique games for it, like, really early on.
I think the issue here is more that it's a game that is being emulated or adapted for the console, and so sometimes it can break.
Exit says, no, Stadia actually works. Friend of mine has one, and I've toyed with it a bit. It's actually pretty nice. Oh, that's great. I am glad to hear that it's doing better, at the least, for those who have them. For me, the concern is exactly the same as, well, the concern I harbor regarding, like, digital copies of games. It's like, I don't want to pay money, right, for an entertainment product that I don't own. If they decide one day, oh yeah, this thing you spent $500 on, that's gone. You know, I'm screwed. I would like to have something that I could play and enjoy for years to come. Passed down throughout history.
Basically TV shows.
Exactly, yeah. I want to have it so that the copy of Marvel's Avengers that I suffered through for all of you guys can sit in a museum someday. As like one of the... I don't know, the Museum of Failure or something? I just know that sometimes you have to do this. You have to, like, restart the stream. There we go. I just know that it...
Museum of Epic Fail.
Yeah, and I've heard some people claim that Avengers was actually the biggest financial flop in the gaming world of 2020, more so than Cyberpunk, and I think that checks out. Off the top of my head, I believe that does check out. I think they lost way more than CDPR did.
Yeah, because Cyberpunk might be a mess, but it's still interesting to play.
Well, and unfortunately, that like 60-40 marketing split they devised for their funding, or closer to like 66-33, apparently bore fruit because even though the game had a terrible reception across the board, it still sold an obscene number of units. Now, what that tells me is, unless they really dedicate some time and attention to improving their reputation and showcasing way more gameplay from their next project, CDPR is probably going to feel the financial fallout from Cyberpunk with their next couple of releases, but not from Cyberpunk itself. That's my prediction.
I don't know actually, because there's something weird going on with GOG at the present time. Like every week or so, I receive a promotion for a game. Like that, trying to sell more and more games through the platforms. So I think they're getting desperate or something.
Well, I mean, as far as I'm aware, they are still under the watchful eye of the Polish government. So. Man, that is Kingdoms of Amalur level incompetence right there, though. When the government starts penalizing you for releasing a terrible game. Oh, also, because I didn't show it off yet. Oh, wait. We'll go play the Aces semifinals, and after this mission, or after this chapter, I'll really quickly show off the second half of the game's, well, core gameplay. It's something we haven't seen at all yet, but we've unlocked quite a lot of. Let's just run our way on over to the Cooper team hangar and get ready to go head to head to head with Iceland and Belgium. I also love all of the crashed early 20th century biplanes scattered all around the hillside here.
Yeah, that's how I picture the Netherlands.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure this is perfectly authentic.
I've never been there, even though they're not our neighbors, but yeah.
Well, I mean, the representation of, like, an American, or a major American city as a complete ruin where everything's broken and everybody's furious, actually charted pretty well in the first game.
Yeah, that's kind of true.
Oh god, dirigibles, no. Okay, let's just get behind the controls of the Cooper biplane. Something
Did they try in the first game to imitate Pittsburgh?
No. Remember, Mugshot was set up in a place that, like, took on the style, the aesthetics of Las Vegas, but was apparently located in Utah. Which, it was explained in the cutscene after his battle, I'm sorry that I missed it, he actually took over the city and installed the casino and all the neon himself.
That's interesting.
Okay, so our goal here is very simple. We have to shoot down all of the enemy planes. All 25 of them. One thing I do appreciate is we're going to see 5 different teams, including Team Cooper, compete in the Aces tournament, and each of them has their own completely unique design for biplanes, or in this case, triplanes.
You have to be careful not getting shot at yourself, or...
Less so in the semi-finals, but in the finals, absolutely. We'll know that an enemy has us pegged and is going to be firing directly at us. If we're usually right behind them, their tail gunners will take aim at us. But Bentley's attempts to distract both teams through a little framework and sabotage have proven extremely fruitful, as the Belgian and Icelandic pilots are going to be firing at each other almost constantly. And Dimitri will be sporadically offering color commentary during these fights, which is always great.
That's an interesting way to set up the easier minigame. To work with some form of functional plot behind it.
Yeah, as I'm sure you've noticed, these games are really good at, even when it's kind of lighthearted and silly, providing some kind of narrative justification for little mechanical differences from mission to mission.
Yep. That's kind of what games like.
Yep. Well, one of many things anymore.
Well, games in general like the story justification for any mechanics, because it's hard to do.
Sure.
It's not an issue, but it's always a nice touch to do it.
Well, I'm thinking back to the first game where Bentley would explicitly break the fourth wall to tutorialize us, telling us what buttons to press to perform what commands and how. I think having kind of a light-hearted, tongue-in-cheek approach to all of that helps Sly Cooper do so a bit more easily.
Yeah, I mean, when you know you're going to do it, you might as well go all in rather than trying to be shy about it.
Absolutely. By the way, we do have to refill our ammo, represented by the red section of the plane's health meter, typically reserved for energy, sporadically as we fire off rounds, and we can find clips of ammo, as you've seen, usually under bridges. The Belgian and Icelandic pilots can take each other out, but it does not affect our kill count whatsoever. I guess they'll just spawn more pilots. I will say here, as a fan of dogfighting in video games, this feels very simple, but also very, very good. Controls a bit more smoothly than Crash's flight levels, I'll say that.
I'm pretty sure they actually spawn planes while you're not looking, so they don't have to render all of that.
Absolutely correct.
And they do so better than Cyberpunk.
Yeah, but see, these aren't police planes. Totally different. Totally different. Alright, Exit.
Right.
I do appreciate, though, that with all the things wrong with Cyberpunk, the one element that seems to have people incensed more than any other is just the cops don't work properly. And like, is that what we're focusing on?
I don't think people are mad about that. That's just the tip of the iceberg that they see. People always criticize what they can see, not what
Right.
they cannot see. But I think it's not really a critique more so than it is just poking fun at the thing because that's
Okay.
actually amusing.
Sure. Ooh, and slideshow time.
Team Mugshot and Team Black Baron. The rules in the finals are a bit different than normal. Whoever takes out the defending champ gets the title. Hear that, boys? It's all about taking down the Baron. Our only real competition will be Mugshot himself. We need to remove him from the competition. Here's the plan. I'll challenge him to a fist fight out in the town square. Sly, you wind and lure Inspector Fox to the same place. When the two meet, the sparks are sure to fly. With some luck, the big guy will get carted off to jail, and we'll have clear skies for the fight. However, the Baron won't be so easy to deal with. He commands an enormous team of flyers and has been known to bring in a squad of blimp gunships when things look grim. The answer to our problem isn't obvious, although it is potent. Behold, Lupus Gigantormus. I'll drug the beast so that the Guru will be able to ride it and take out some of the local guards, who also serve
I
as
feel
the
like
Baron's
Bentley's plans just get more and more grisly as the series goes on.
has to deal with in the finals, the better. Next, I'll hack into the aircraft control tower. If successful, I'll be able to intercept any messages the Baron might send to his gunships. All right, team, we've got all night to prepare. If we take this thing, it'll mean more than a trophy. Penelope is sure to join our gang. After her stellar work defending our hangar, I'm sure we'd all agree that she's a prime recruit.
Okay, so our plan is kind of twofold once again. We're going to have to take Mugshot out of the running by getting him arrested after provoking him into a fight. And then we're going to have to eliminate as many of the Black Baron's pilots as possible by having the Guru possess the gigantic wolf lurking underneath the Baron's castle and then eating a ton of his guards with it. I think for once we are not actually better people than the villain we're competing against in the chapter. And oh dear, does Bentley start off all of the missions this go around? Oh dear lord, I think he does. Well, let's start things off with the Giant Wolf Massacre, featuring Bentley and the Guru. Oh dear. Ooh, hold on. Our buddy over there's got a treasure, and soon will have a treasure. There we go. Oh! Oh, did they mess with my, ability hotkeys? What, during that, Frame Team Iceland mission? I believe they may, or Frame Team Belgium, my bad. I believe they did. So we want that to be L2, we want that to be L1. There we go. That's my preferred, control mapping. Somebody else with a treasure, well, I mean, we've got to grab that, right? I mean, it's right here in front of us. Might as well, might as well. Another gold medal, very nice, very nice. And yeah, we do want to keep out of range of the Baron's gunships as best we can. They're going to be a bit of a nuisance throughout the entire chapter, and taking them out of the game is actually going to be a really significant element of our operation this go-around. But first things first, let's take care of the Baron's pilots.
Perfect feral specimen of Lupus Gigantormus.
So let me get this straight again. You plan on stalking that thing, drugging it, putting the Guru on board, and setting the two free to smash up the guards?
An airtight plan, I agree. Its simplicity itself. By channeling the wild destruction...
I think Bentley just gets more and more violent with every chapter.
...should be able to thin out the Black Baron's ranks. Which, of course, means fewer enemy pilots flying against you in the finals.
I'm all for evening the odds in our favor, but come on. This plan seems a little risky.
Not at all. I've modified my sleep darts with heavy doses of skunk balm. It should be enough to pacify the beast, provided he doesn't catch wind of me first.
Alright, that sounds okay. You can hang back and shoot him at a distance.
Well, given the weight of the darts, I'll need to sneak up behind him and take a shot within a few meters.
Meters?
Quit trying to freak me out and put the guru on the binocucom. After I put the wolf to sleep, it'll be up to you. Thanks, Guru. You always know just what to say.
Okay, so since we're using skunk balm lace darts, we're going to be constantly exuding this cloud of a very potent aroma, which the wolf can, of course, catch wind of, and we need to creep up within just a few feet to lance him with each dart. Meaning, of course, he's going to catch wind of and attack us immediately after each round gets off. So, that means it's time for Bentley to run like hell. Just, fortunately, unlike, say, Carmelita in the second game, he's not going to chase us very far. Oh, hello, Hare. And Pig. I think it says run? Yeah, retreat, you know what I mean? Did it save our progress after I bought the adrenaline burst? It did not. That's great. Like I said, the Baron standard guards, not super dangerous when it comes to their attacks. The pigs prefer sloshing gasoline on the ground in front of them and then igniting it, which takes way too long to be a really effective attack unless you don't see it coming. Alright, let's catch back up with our quarry. Also, welcome back, Exit. Fortunately, we appear to be blowing the aroma in the opposite direction of old Bentley constantly, so... And yeah, look at that. The wolf doesn't chase us far at all, nor does the distance at which he pursues us grow significantly with subsequent sleep darts. That's good stuff. If he would just stop eating the guards so we can pacify him in order to eat the guards, that'd be great.
I wonder why they went with the green cloud on that.
Bullseye.
I'm not entirely sure. I don't think it has anything to do with, like, keeping consistent with Bentley's color branding. It probably has more to do with, choosing a color that would stand out from the rest of the color palette, while still also communicating cartoon, stinkiness, essentially.
Yeah.
So they used a very dark shade of green.
It doesn't really work though with the grass.
No, maybe like a yellow would have done a bit better.
Yeah, I'm
Yellow
thinking
or
the
brown.
same thing. Brown would have been a later
Nice work,
match.
big game hunter. The
That's for
skunk bomb
the
is kicking in.
contextualization.
It's almost
Yeah.
asleep.
Okay, we've got him though, so it's Guru time.
You're up. You should be able
And,
to pass the giant wolf.
As usual, the Guru's mission isn't super difficult. It is, however, incredibly violent. But, you know, the Guru is still a pacifist since he himself is not harming anyone. It's a loophole he's making use of. Now...
Violence is fine as long as you're not the one doing it.
Yeah, sure. Notice, inexplicably, the wolf is also using the dingo's health meter icon from Chapter 2. Which makes sense, and is a nice reuse of assets. Also, gotta avoid ramming into walls or anything like that while in control of the wolf, because we'll take a little tiny bit of damage.
I do love the concept of wolves versus pigs.
Yes. The pigs are actually probably, well no, the hares would be the hardest to hit due to the size of their hitboxes. But rams, oh man, rams are just, gravy for this thing. All we gotta do is eat 15 of the Baron's pilots and we'll be good to go. So we take damage from the trees, but we can destroy them by running into them, so there's that.
Keep it up. That's 10 fewer pilots in the final.
My question is, instead of just crossing off 15 pilots, Why do we not just let the guru loose on this thing for like a full afternoon? Just as many as you can get.
Just 3 more to go.
I mean, I guess they need to leave just enough guards to afford the Baron a full flight team.
2 more, and we're set.
Pretend it's a competition.
Yeah, well, I mean, since you're listening on Discord, you didn't catch the disclosure during the slideshow, but the Baron apparently routinely calls in his massive blimps, the gunships, to take out any and all competition if he starts feeling the pressure during any finals.
Well, of course. That's how competition in video games go.
Of course. It's all about who cheats the best, not about who plays fair, because nobody does. Definitely don't want to jump into the river. There we go. Alright, well done, Guru. That sure was some murder. Like, a lot of murder. Notice we're only at 19% completion, though. I wonder why. Could it have something to do with that additional content I mentioned earlier? Answer, yes. Alright, time for just a bit more hacking with the windmill firewall stage. We are going to hack windmills. They've been connected to the cloud, I suppose.
I would like to insert doubt into that statement.
Oh yeah, it's hardly ever useful, but we can drop the Baron's planes on guards if we're so inclined.
How do you plan to hack into the aircraft
So it's
control
kind
tower?
of a
It's
donkey
simple, really. The whole system is linked through
Yeah,
computer
yeah.
nodes which monitor the power generated by the nearby windmills.
Seriously? All the power around here comes from the local windmills? I thought they were just for looks.
The control nodes tell
Oh
the
no,
different
please don't tell me
story.
that Sly is a fossil fuel advocate.
Pretty high.
My turbo chair has been outfitted with an extra afterburner. Heights such as that are nothing to me.
Using Bentley's quadruple jump, yeah, we can actually ascend to the walkways around the midpoints of the windmills really easily. Hey Bunny, welcome to the stream. They say just got back from my first time at Comic-Con. Oh, righteous. Got to hold an original copy of Mario Sunshine for the first time. Wasn't able to get it, but I got a poster along with the Kingdom Hearts win and competed in a little Smash tournament. Right on, I'm glad you had a good time. Exit says this stream is powered by Shell Fuels. No! No!
Prepare yourself, computer. I will show no mercy.
Time for a bit more...
Congrats, Bunny.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit more of this new and improved Bentley hacking.
I've got hacker code linked to the right analog.
Now each node of a firewall is dispersed with a single shot. I think that makes it a little bit less tedious. And we'll be gathering some keys and placing them into color-coded locks, because of course. It's a minor thing. It's very difficult to detect if you're not playing. But this twin-stick shooter feels a little bit smoother and more responsive than it did even in Sly 2, where the control wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
It also feels like... MC, you probably have a better eye for these things than I do, but doesn't it look like the projectiles we're firing are just a little larger than they were in the second game as well?
Not really, no.
Okay.
But it's much smoother on the graphics, so you can aim more precisely.
Nice. Oh, Exit says turtle shell fuels? I mean, maybe if Bentley is slowly, like, consuming his own body within, like, some kind of internal furnace, yes. Bunny says we're going back again tomorrow since we have passes for both days, and I also got to meet Katsune, who I've looked up to for a very long time. That sounds righteous. Congratulations, man. It's nice to be able to get out and about now that things are maybe very slowly calming down. Maybe. Not in Tennessee, though. These people are stupid. I did receive an offer to teach in the fall, though, which unfortunately I will have to defer until the spring because I really need some completely isolated time to whittle down this thesis. I don't want to do something halfway and end up taking more time, you know? I'd like to teach for a year while I work on PhD applications without any kind of writing to contend with otherwise. I will...
Yeah, no,
Hmm?
that's the smart thing. That's the smart thing to do.
Yeah, no, the only rule other than don't plagiarize, for the love of God, don't plagiarize, on my syllabus is going to be, do not email me, do not make me have to write any type of communication to you. Call me on my cell phone, 3 in the morning, I don't care, I'll be happy to talk to you, just please don't make me write!
Grasshopper. Kneel before the feet of the master.
That was also me.
Looks like they're going to put up a little fight this time.
Mm-hmm. I get the feeling, right, the first draft of the first chapter is going to be far and away the hardest part, and it gets easier and easier from there.
Generally, yes. It's always the beginning that's the most difficult. You also want to do it in one go rather than trying to fix.
Yes.
Black hole.
Well...
Have to hack around it.
Oh, go ahead.
So you can at least have the content down that you can rewrite and improve, because the first draft is never going to work.
Yeah. So the way I have this planned is I'm going to devote more or less a month to writing each of my 3 chapters, tack on a draft, intro, and conclusion, like in a week after that, and then save the last month for just making any general edits I have to across the whole thing. My hope is I won't have to, like, throw out and rewrite entire sections. I've never had to do that with anything I've written before. So, you know, fingers crossed. Like, there will be lots of, like, little type edits, like, maybe have another go with this paragraph, or move things around. I'm used to that. As long as I'm not having to completely redo entire, like, you know, 10, 20-page sections, I'll be a very happy camper.
When I write anything, I usually end up rewriting everything.
Another terminal?
Just because I write general content rather than text.
Okay.
So at least I have all the notion written down, but then I have to fill in the actual.
Kind of like a conceptual outline. You start with like a conceptual outline.
Right.
Also, super pleased to announce, even though it's been quiet as can be at my home for like the past 2 weeks, when I decided to do this big 3.5-hour stream, the dogs seem to have returned from the ether, miraculously.
Don't worry, my pet. I'll make this quick and painless.
It's a ghost dog at this point.
I was about to say, or maybe the apartment next door is just like owned by Rare employees? I don't know. So notice here, we are not, as was kind of the standard for hacking missions in the second game, running through progressively more difficult iterations of the same map. All of these are unique, small maps. I do really like that. Again, they are improving and expanding upon concepts introduced in earlier games, gradually, but with a lot of finesse. Sucker Punch are, in my mind, and consistently have been, some of the most talented devs in the game, for a reason. Again, Ghost of Tsushima, which is an open-world AAA game, is actually very, very good, somehow. And you can get a katana sheath that has a raccoon tail fur pattern running along the scabbard, which is just beautiful. So that's an automatic 10 in my book. The skin is even called Sly Tanuki. I love that.
Now for the aircraft control tower.
I mean,
Once it's hacked, the
it's
system
nice, but
will
also
be
kinda
mine.
mean, because it has implications.
Right, and for me, it's also like, on the one hand, fan service, yay. On the other hand, please don't remind me that you also made one of my favorite series of all time and then abandoned it.
You'll have to use your auxiliary afterburner to get over to that computer. Jump as far as you can toward...
Now, people at Sucker Punch, though, like high-ranking execs, have said very recently, like, they'd love to return to Sly at some point, though, so fingers crossed.
It's only nipping the right ID function.
Oh lord. Oh lord. Okay, so we took out the kind of mini-boss, and now we can just plow through the rest of this. Quickly, quickly, quickly. Oh no, now there's 2 of them. With fewer turrets on each, though, but each also containing a key. Okay. Okay, we may or may not do this. No, we might be alright, might be alright. Yep, there's one down. And 2 down. The moment-to-moment gameplay in hacking segments, including both our own movement and that of the enemies, feels a lot swifter in this game as well. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, the frame rate is...
Mm-hmm. Wait, the code's unstable. Everything's speeding up.
Oh, wait a minute. We accidentally hacked into the windmills a bit too far, and now... we've converted the windmill blades into impromptu missiles. Oh, and we get to use these to great effect during the Aces finals.
So that's why the Netherlands has so many
Secret
weapons.
Of course! Isn't it like Switzerland, where the entire country is very covertly militarized? Like, entire mountain ranges have been hollowed out and serve as, like, armories, or bases for armor divisions. Every single bridge has destructible hard points built into it, something like that.
Maybe. I'm not too familiar with that.
I believe that was something that came up in my poli-sci education, like Switzerland is very subtly, but very thoroughly defensible. Sorry, what were you going to say?
What I know about Switzerland is that they did refurbished a military complex in the mountain. They turned it into a source of electrical power by compressing air into it using sunlight and then releasing the energy at night.
Oh, very cool. Wow. So, for our next mission, Bentley is going to have to challenge Mugshot to a fistfight. Why Bentley? No real idea, but...
Not to mention he deserves a little payback.
We're doing all this just to frame Mugshot so he will end up getting dragged off to jail.
Baron has been keeping an eye on it. We can't find him out in the open for risk of getting disqualified. Thankfully, Inspector Fox is out in the field looking for us.
I hear ya. We'll set them against each other. Mugshot is an international criminal after all. Carmelita won't be able to resist.
My question is, if Carmelita's here, why is she not shutting down the Baron's competition? Like, I'm fairly certain this is all very, very illegal.
Okay, I'll pick a fight with Mugshot and bait him into beating
but
the
she's
town
hunting them
square for
criminals,
our
not crimes.
You do that.
Ah, right.
Attention and lead her back here to the same place.
Agreed.
And
She
I've
is
got to hand it to you,
attracted
Bentley.
to
This is a
criminals.
really underhanded plan.
And the Baron, well, one criminal in particular, but the Baron is, I guess, sufficiently wealthy and influential so as to not really be considered a criminal yet. Just a very, very poor sportsman. I also think the Baron's design is very interesting, don't you? After all, he's the only ambiguously human character we've seen in the series so far.
I mean, it's always interesting to have, if you have a reason for it, it's interesting to explore.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's just okay.
Trust me, there's a reason for it here. There is a very specific reason the Baron is designed the way he is.
I'll beat it, twerp.
Okay.
The Black Baron's been giving me the grill since that event in
So now we have to antagonize Mugshot into picking a fight with poor little Bentley.
Engaging in a physical battle with me outside.
Unfortunately, Bentley is terrible at trash talk.
No way! I'm being watched here. That, and it wouldn't feel right pounding a four-eyed runt in a wheelchair.
Gotta bait him into a fight. Let's see, what do we do? Let's challenge his record first. Again, like Murray's attempts to, amuse the Belgian pilot, we're going to have to run through some incorrect, options before the ideal one presents itself.
You've got such a long, sad history of losing to the Cooper gang.
I could whip your whole gang with one arm if you jerks would sit still. Look at these arms. I'm
So why on earth did they allow him to carry his machine guns inside the hotel?
You know, I've been thinking about your appearance.
Look,
I
if
mean,
you don't got
if
nothing
it's
to
not
say
all
nice,
controlled
then
by
don't
the
say
Baron.
nothing at all. Get it?
Well, yeah, but the Baron is dead set on preventing any kind of sabotage or subterfuge from any of the other teams, including against each other, for whatever reason.
So you're keeping quiet.
I mean, if he's smart at sabotage, he would actually
Really got
expect
nothing nice to say?
like Cooper gang
Oh.
to go against him, so having a minigun in the hotel would be smart place.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously we're going to have to go down a classic route and insult his mother.
Your mother was a broken down
Smokey, thank you so much for the follow. Hope you're doing well, and thank you for joining our stream.
operator.
Hope you're enjoying.
Talk that way about my mother. Nobody! Oh,
Just in time, they say. Oh yeah, I love this mission.
broken down even more.
Town Square, 5 minutes. Please don't be late.
So now that we have managed to properly agitate Mugshot, we're going to run from the fight. And instead, we're going to lure Carmelita there to take him on in our place. And you know what that means?
Mugshot is on his way out.
Smokey says, damn, Great Roast just demolished that man.
Back to the town square.
We're about to demolish him a bit more thoroughly. So now, time for Sly to lure Carmelita on over to the town plaza. Unfortunately, we never get to play as Carmelita at length in this game, but every time we do is a wonderful little power trip. Like I said, she is the second most powerful character we ever get to control throughout the run of the entire series. Stronger than Murray. And actually more durable as well. All of that training pays off. Smokey says it really is. What was that, MC?
Murray represents death.
That is true.
Carmelita represents life.
I think you're right, absolutely. So, what we're going to have to do, unfortunately, is agitate her, after picking her pocket, of course, because she's got money.
Hey,
Oh, there we go.
the Fox. Still looking for a date to the prom?
Quit running and I'll pin the corsage on you.
Oh god. Oh god. This way? It's okay, we could take a few blows. Problem is, she is really adept at keeping right on her tail. Oh, we might actually die here. Oh god. Oh god. She is, as far as I'm aware, the only guard-type enemy in the entire game who is about as fast as one of the playable characters. And we've got to stay more or less right in her sight the entire time, so we can lead her to Mugshot. Oh, shit, right at the 11th hour we get cut down. That's a shame. Let's try that again. Actually, hold on. Oh, since the game crashed, I forgot to buy the rocket boots again. They'd actually come in extra handy here. They function more or less identically to the Shadow Slide from the second game, but they've got a slightly different aesthetic associated with them. Whoop. We're not gonna play around with those. How about we antagonize her from a slightly greater distance? Hello. Hi. There we go.
Still looking for a date to
This time, let's try luring her right across this bridge. Wait, is she still pursuing us? No? Oh, there we go. There we go. That's it. This way, please. Just a little farther. There we go! Now we've triggered the boss battle. Perfect. So, you remember how neither of the other characters who have faced him over the course of the series could take Mugshot on, like,
Why not face me like
one-to-one? They had to use gimmicks? Carmelita doesn't need to do that. We're just about to shoot him until he stops moving.
Hey! You're that cop hag that busted me back in Mesa City.
Mugshot, alias Two Gun Tony. also known as Meathead Mugshot. 7 foot 3 inches, 324 pounds, wanted in 7 countries.
Over 7 feet tall, Jesus.
For your arrest. And yes,
But only 300 some odd pounds with all that muscle. That's insane.
Well, wise guy, lady.
Like in the Spider-Man universe, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the Kingpin, who despite his appearance is made almost purely out of muscle, only 6 foot some odd and well over 400 pounds?
they really are.
I ain't no stupid baby.
Not well versed in that universe, but maybe.
Well, I guess Mugshot's body is actually very small and kind of almost gaunt, so that would make some sense. Oh god, so he can shoot us, but you'll notice he deals next to no damage, whereas Carmelita's shock pistol is dealing plenty of damage to old Mugshot.
This is what you call
Usually yes, but she's nominally a hero in this game, so I guess it's fine.
Oh, yeah. If he's a hero, everything is fine.
That's how it works in Saturday morning cartoons, I guess. Anything the heroes do is immediately justified. It's actors and not actions that determine morality. Kind of a dark premise, if you excuse the absolute corniness of all this. So yeah, this is less a boss battle and more just a straight-up execution. And another testament to how incredibly powerful Carmelita is. There he goes.
That you? I'm sorry.
And Mugshot is...
I didn't know they was yours.
Since we have to get that E10 rating, we will say he is unconscious.
Oh well, I'm sure Cooper won't make his move anytime soon.
He got tranquilized.
Sure, however, we never see him again. I think he might be dead.
No. Nobody dies in this series.
Except Clockwork, apparently.
It's like in Yakuza, kill you, never kill someone.
That's right! So we're already on to the finale of Chapter 3, which I've really enjoyed. I don't know about you. Yeah?
It's pretty good so far, yeah.
Pretty significant departure from what we've come to expect in this this game so far, both aesthetically and mechanically.
Yeah, it's pretty unique compared to the rest, so it feels fresh. Though maybe they go more and more into the abstract, which is... I don't know. It has its strengths and weaknesses.
So Chapter 4 is a bit more standard to what we're used to, and Chapter 5 is so bonkers and over the top in both its setting, its concept, and its mechanics that it is, I think it's going to be really hard for anybody to say it's not one of their favorites out of the original trilogy by the time we get to the end of it. Chapter 5 is really something special. Not my favorite in the game, that's still Chapter 4, but Chapter 5 is really something else. That's the one I've alluded to in the past where they completely abandon any premise of, like, tying the chapter to a real-world location or time period. It's just a crazy filler arc that I adore. That, coincidentally, is Dimitri's chapter. Okay, we'll get the rocket boots. Oh, silent obliteration! Yes, we get the silent kill now. Yes, we'll take that. We will repurchase the Fists of Flame for the Murray, and we'll get Bentley's grapple cam, because it is necessary for later missions. Okay, with that, I think we're ready to undertake Operation Turbo Dominant Eagle. Also, something I totally forgot about, because it's actually very well hidden, but the Black Baron Zeppelins are reskins of the Contessas from the second game. Really well done reuse of assets there, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't even notice, did we?
Yeah, I guess it makes sense why you wouldn't recognize them, because they are against the dark sky in the second game, so they don't really stand out. Here you can see.
And I'm fairly certain the Contessa only had one, whereas there's an entire fleet of them here. In a far more open map as well. It feels nowhere near as claustrophobic as Czechoslovakia did.
It feels a little too big, maybe, for the traversal at least.
It's likely it feels that way because, as I mentioned at the very start of the chapter, a lot of the buildings in this particular setting are low to the ground. So it feels, I think, more open than it actually is. Again, there's great manipulation of scope and scale to make these maps feel a little bit bigger than they are. Except this one feels less vertically crowded and more kind of horizontally spread out than it actually is.
I think it's not really a problem of that, it's really a problem of going from objective to objective that requires you to stretch in a long way.
Kind of like Chapter 3 of the second game, you're saying?
Yeah.
So, I don't feel it as a player, but part of that could be because I think the objectives here are way more original and kind of less tedious than many of the second game's chapters. But that's a fair perspective, absolutely.
I mean, it's always difficult to compare when you're in control.
Yes. Yeah, so I can definitely see it, though, trust me. I also have a particular bias in favor of the third game, so, you know, all of this is going to be subjective. Oh! Great, but the runner-up's dogfight is currently beginning, so throughout the entire first half of the operation, the Belgian and Icelandic pilots are just going to be shooting at each other directly over the town.
Why not?
It's like in Power Rangers. Everybody's been evacuated, don't worry. Whoop, hold on 1 second, I'll be right back. Have to deal with blood glucose again. 1 second, y'all.
How is chat doing?
Alright, and we're back. Apologies, and apologies if you hear our good friend the glucose monitor going off in about 4 minutes, but we've taken care of it.
I
So,
don't think anyone heard it, so...
it very softly vibrated the first time around. Odds are good the siren may go off if it doesn't detect that I've already dealt with it in 5 minutes. So here we've got a bounce from Zeppelin to Zeppelin. Yikes! In order to place some transponders on the control console of each. I also kind of love how apparently nobody is actually flying these things. If this is a control panel, even though there are little cabins underneath each Zeppelin, who on earth is driving them? Piloting, I should say. Yeah, of course, very advanced technology. Actually, considering everything we know or will know about the Black Baron, that would make sense.
I mean, considering things ever since 20, 30 years ago, it's all automated. So.
And we don't know much about them until the very end of the chapter as like a person, but the Black Baron is an aeronautical genius. kind of one of the advantages, or I suppose detriments as well, to having a villain so brimming with personality who, rather unusually for Sly from the second game on, is kind of absent for much of their chapter. They're just kind of a force in the background, but not physically present.
I mean, it's kind of the best antagonist, if you can pull it off right. The mastermind.
Well, again, I've been kind of hinting at it, but there is a reason we don't see much of the Black Baron. It makes sense. It's done very well here.
If there's one thing I'm good at, it's rowing.
I'm sure.
And breaking stuff.
Well, I mean, aside from...
Sly never failed that story, so I can believe that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now, Murray just has to slowly dismantle this, windmill, while, downed pilots crash all around him. This is not Murray destroying something, well, destroying people, I should say, but rather his presence causes them to die, that's all. He has this aura.
The only thing that's missing from this scene is the singing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. I don't think we get Murray in a musical number until the 4th game, though, so just hold tight.
Also, it does happen.
Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Of course it does. Oh, come on, Murray. And as you can see, things get a little bit more congested after every strut is destroyed. And see, once again, those unique mechanics we were introduced to, like the little dinghy here, they always come back. I love that. Nothing feels superfluous. And Murray, once again, trash-talking inanimate objects. I love him so much. And, oh, is it already time to contend with the Black Baron? It is, okay. So again, as explained in one of the, slideshows, our only goal is to shoot down the Baron. That's all we have to do to win.
Quit worry. I'll see you in the winner's circle.
The Baron is in a distinct black plane. Oddly enough, his flying squadron have red vehicles, and mugshots are yellow. His team will still be flying, despite the fact that he's been apprehended by law enforcement / killed. There's the Black Baron. So, his plane is very sturdy, but we can still take it down in no time with a little bit of concentrated fire. And the Baron is down. And, of course, he's calling in both an airliner and his blimps. But Bentley's got something in mind for the Zeppelins. I love this. Well, there goes his backup. So the Baron's just going to cheat a different way.
Oh no, you don't, you weasel.
Weasel, am I?
I beat you. Your biplane is in pieces.
We're both skilled airborne, aren't we? The victor has yet to be decided.
Then, let's settle it.
Beware, my boy. I've trained 10 years in fisticuffs, pugilism...
So now we have to fist fight the Baron into submission.
Fly? This shouldn't take long.
On guard!
He is actually very, very talented, so we have to wait for him to overextend with like an uppercut or one of his diving attacks, and then punish. And as you can notice, well, a couple things. One, the Baron doesn't get staggered by blows that drain some of his health, unlike literally every other boss we fought in the franchise. And secondly, as I mentioned, he's slightly smaller than Sly is. Yet very, very talented. And now he's going to hang from the wing while his flight crew attempts to knock us off. No big deal, though. We can knock them back a bit farther than they can us, so...
It's a bit of a shame for the Baron to have his crew attack you at this stage.
Yeah.
Like, makes him feel like a coward. I mean, he's a bit of one, but still.
The Baron's just a prolific cheater, but I think it's still really impressive that he's as physically redoubtable as he is. Like, oh wait, he can also shake the entire plane with some ground pounds. Trust me, this gets way more impressive after we defeat the Baron. This is already...
Bring him into the propellers.
No, not exactly. We do, however, learn what is going on here, because there's something just a little off with the entire competition. We also get to learn the purpose behind the Baron's design, which I think is really cool. Well, obviously, like, his aesthetic design is based quite heavily on Manfred von Richthofen, I believe, the Red Baron, the World War I era German flying ace. Oh, look! One of his own guards lit him on fire. That's great. Now, this is where things do get a little bit difficult, because we're going to have to contend with both the Baron and a constant stream of pigs. However, friendly fire is active for the enemies. Frankly, it may just be best to whittle them down. Yeah. Oh, shoot, he actually got me at the 11th hour. That's not happened in ages, but we can try again. No big deal. The guards just really got me there. No big deal. Yes, thank you for the help, Bentley. It's just Brady getting worse at video games with old age. Come on. Come on. That's it.
One thing I would do in case of lost battle nowadays would be to increase the health loss for the boss until you reach more or less the stage you were at. So you don't have to rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Like, kind of quickly regain the lost ground.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. I'm not sure there are many games that currently do that, though, but it would be... Or it would do wonders for, people who just want to, get through, certain battles, I suppose. Or maybe making it to where it was an option to either opt into that or just have the boss's health scale normally.
That should be... Rather than trying to settle for difficulty, you should always try to settle for option for the player.
Yes.
Where you can...
As much as I love to talk smack about Pathfinder Kingmaker, that's one area where the devs did really well. They had scores of, not just difficulty sliders, but options for everything you could think of in the game.
You don't want it to be overwhelming, though.
I do love the fact, though, like, my favorite bit of trivia about the whole game is the devs apparently played it on easy, or what became easy, and they were like, yeah, this is the normal experience. Oh, damn pigs. Come on. There we go. There we go. Oh, we knocked one of them out somehow. Come on. There we go. Well, the Baron's been lit on fire once again. Oh! Okay, so we can cover more ground with that uppercut than I thought. There we go. Ooh, didn't even see that one primed. No, 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 no. Come on. Got him! And here we go.
Well done.
This is why his performance was so impressive. He's a tiny little rat.
You win, Cooper.
Wait, you? You're Penelope, the Baron's mechanic. No. No.
Yep, so Penelope created a persona and rigged the entire tournament in her faux employer's favor.
But why?
That explains all of the ridiculous high tech we had to contend with during the chapter. Also, Jesus Christ, she could take a hit, right? Pretty sure she...
Down from a boss.
Yeah, she took more damage than the Panda King did.
It was quite a revelation. Penelope and the Black Baron were one and the same. But before we could even process this turn of events, we were rushed to the winner's circle. Somehow, against all odds, we become this year's
I love that the
champions.
Guru is just stupefied at all this.
There was a bit of an awkward moment between Bentley
The
and
Guru
Penelope.
is stupefied.
I guess the photos they'd sent each other over the internet were a bit
Just in general.
exaggerated. That night, Penelope explained that the disguise was invented to get her past the Dogfighting League's strict age requirements. However, after winning, the Baron became a celebrity, and she found herself putting on the costume more and more often. But now, with the Black Baron out of the picture, she was free to take up a new path, and she joined the gang without hesitation.
There we go, our 5th member. Welcome back, Luna.
The next day, our
Glad you're able to get back in and relax.
long aerial tour of Holland.
So I'm gonna show a couple things off.
Just fine.
This is going to conclude most of the gameplay we see for today's stream. But suffice it to say, the next 2 chapters are 2 of my favorites in the entire franchise, and I think we're gonna have a great time exploring them together in a good while. Again, this is my last stream for some time, due to that thesis writing experience, but, okay. Y'all remember, I've said several times throughout this stream and the previous one, there's a great deal of content that I have not shown you yet? Let me explain. After clearing each chapter, something amazing that only Sly 3 and 4 do, they should have done from the jump, is, well, first off, you're able to view the cutscenes that played in that chapter. That's pretty cool. You get a concept art gallery. These are amazing, and I think we'll look at them together later on. But you can also replay any mission from that chapter on demand. Really cool, right? You couldn't replay stages or missions in Sly 2, which I think was a slight detriment. But here, you not only get to replay any mission at your whim, but you have access to a certain range of Master Thief challenges. Slightly more difficult or more specific versions of previous missions or sections from previous missions that require you to meet more criteria than you would have to over the course of the standard variant of that mission. These replace the Master Thief time trials from Sly 1, and in my regard, or my book rather, are vastly superior because they will test your skills across many different gameplay styles and in achieving different types of objectives. They constitute roughly half of the game's content, and many of them are short, simple, and very, very, very good. We will be dedicating a couple streams, probably, or maybe at least one stream, to just completing Master Thief challenges. Why have I not taken any of them on yet? Because certain Master Thief challenges, 1 per chapter, will not appear. They will not be available until we complete a certain mission, or no, until we complete Chapter 5. Chapter 5 unlocks one specific type of Master Thief challenge in each chapter, alright? And once we clear that, we're going to go back through and tidy them all up nice and clean. Then, we're going to challenge Chapter 6 and its Master Thief mission variants back to back, okay? So these are a great addition to the game. I adore them. I hope you'll enjoy watching me tackle them in a week's time or more. They're really good. But, next up, really quickly, Luna says, "We'll relax. I have to wake up in less than 7 hours." Oi. Well, get your rest, man, as best you can. So, I'm sure you guys can see, based on the architecture here, where we're going for Chapter 4, yeah? It's, oh, that'd be great. But no, we're heading back to China. To recruit our expert demolitionist. Guys? Take a guess, who do you think we're going to be bringing on board for this big heist? The most powerful character, playable character, in the entire franchise. Well, next time around, in probably the longest and most complex chapter in the game, we're going to be recruiting the Panda King. And holy shit! The Panda King is the character we get to play as the absolute least in the entire game, which is a shame. But he puts both Carmelita and Murray to shame. He is obscenely powerful. Luna says, Demolition, Carmelita. No. Carmelita is not a character we ever recruit in this game. She's just brought on, usually when we coerce her into doing certain things for us. But the Panda King, the fourth boss from the first game, is back stronger than ever, and is also one of the most versatile characters in the game, which is maybe why they didn't want to let you use him all that often. But suffice it to say, we will enjoy every single second of gameplay as the Panda King. And then, come Chapter 5, we'll recruit Dimitri, who we unfortunately also only get to use a couple times. It's my biggest complaint with this game, I think I mentioned earlier, is they do really well designing new gameplay styles, but it feels like you don't get to use some of the crew members nearly enough to really explore their full potential. But that's a minor thing, you know?
That's... I can see why they wouldn't want to do that. They don't want to end up in the same pitfall as Dark Souls 3, where they try to pamper the fanbase too much.
Oh, sure. I'm just thinking, you know how we've played as the Guru, 4 or 5 times now? It would be great if we get that for these others. I'm gonna tell you right now, I believe, if I remember correctly, we only get to play as the Panda King and Dimitri twice apiece. Like, 2 missions, that's it. Which is a real shame, given that they are members of the crew, and that both of their playstyles are a lot of fun. But again, this is a minor complaint to a game with a massive roster of playable characters that came out in 2005. So, I mean, we have to temper our expectations respectively, right? Sly 4 also has a much larger roster than the standard 3 playable characters, and for what it's worth, until the tail end, that game handles it far, far better. So, I'm afraid that's going to conclude our stream for today. A major thanks to everyone who joined me. It's been a real pleasure digging a bit deeper into one of my all-time favorite games from childhood with you guys. I'm loving this playthrough series, going through all of the Sly games, and I hope that you are as well. Fingers crossed we will be able to complete this game and Sly 4 well in time to stream Psychonauts 2 in one, series of sittings, just as soon as it comes out. It's been a real pleasure. I thank each and every one of you for joining me. Special thanks to MC2M for joining me on commentary.
Thank you for the stream.
Of course.
It was amazing.
Thank you, man. And we'll be back to tackle China and probably the game's 5th chapter, along with some Master Thief challenges, in around a week. Again, I'm going to be completely absent from the Overanalyst Network for the next 7 days, maybe 8 days, as I head home to work on my first thesis chapter's draft. I'm going to be, just relaxing on the couch, watching terrible TV and movies with my dad while I try to churn out roughly 25 to 30 pages of substantive content out of notes I've taken over a couple months. It's going to be a lot, it's going to be daunting, but it's also going to be the hardest, most complex part of the entire project as I have it set up. So after that, I will rejoin you to continue our journey through the Sly Cooper franchise. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful rest of your evening. Bye-bye!